What's going on? What's going on, people? Good to see everybody this evening. Let's get this thing kicked off. Looks like everybody's jumping in there. Let me check my audio here. Let's get a talk back on the receiving end here. Let's see. What's going on? What's going on, people? There we go. There we go. Now we're rocking. All right. What's going on, ladies and gents? Renee's first. Oh, shocker. Oh, she's always in there. Awesome. John Beck's in there. Glenn Judd, what's going on? Mel Scott saying, hey. What's going on, Mel? Photography Light and Magic's in there. John Bremner, I'm sorry. Whoop. Make the screen. Let's get the screen adjusted here. So this won't, okay. Noodles, what's going on? Good to see you in there. Farmer's in there. Peter Ferrero's in there. Oh, Pete, rather. Let's see. Mauricio's in there. What's going on, Mauricio? Good to see you in there. Taking it easy and chilling over there in Brazil. Let's see, James Cragen's in there. What's going on, James? Good to see you in there. Gotta love it when the screen jumps like that. John Robertson's in there. Let's see. Dennis Bailey's in there. What's going on? Mr. Gossam is in there. Phil C's in there. What's going on, man? Good to see you in there. John Robertson. Thomas is in there. What's going on? Bonjour. What's happening? James Cragen. All in there just chilling. All right. Let's see. We got... Yep, Renee. Perseverance rover is heading to Mars. Won't be there until February. I think it's the 13th of 2021. Funny enough, guess what? So isn't China's rover and lander and orbiter and all that. They're also going to be there in February. Yeah, they're not working in tandem. Yeah, right. They're definitely there, right? They're definitely working together. There's no doubt in my mind. Renee's eating UFO lunchtime. Nice. Farmer, he said, hey, everyone. Good evening, Chris. Good evening to you there, Farmer. Mel Scott said, Mars North, come in peace. Mauricio, he said, hi, hugs from Brazil. Chris, thank you again for your job. Thank you, Mauricio. Appreciate you. Oh, I seen that, Renee. The MUFON scandal. Yeah, that's pretty wild. I was like, what is going on there? Argama Gama, what's happening? Haven't seen you in a while. Hope you're doing well. Mel, you said my husband is the liaison officer representing the Mars German at NASA's Science Mission Directorate. That's interesting. Pretty cool. Photography Light and Magazine, you said, hi, Chris. I hope you and your family are good and healthy. We are. Thank you very much for asking. I hope your family is doing well as well, right? Let me get this mic here before it falls over on me. That's not good. Pete, you said beautiful 79 degrees here in Buffalo, New York with a few clouds. And we're about 86. I think it hit like 91 here today. Still got a heat index of 90, 58% humidity. Humidity doesn't seem quite as hot or sticky, I should say, today. Maybe because it's not as warm as it's been. Because now we're starting to go into the, starting to creep towards the fall. Right after you hit the summer solstice, you start to see between a minute and a minute and a half less of your day every day. So here we go. John Robertson, you said, all right, Chris. Can't wait to see what you've got this time. Found loads as well. They can't hide everything. Swines. Well, that's true. Like I said, I don't care that they find it. I just wish they divulge it so everybody else can see it, right? Unreal. Dennis Bailey, what's going on? He said, happy Friday to one and all. Greets from beautiful Exeter, New Hampshire. Oh, yeah, it is nice up there, by the way. It is. James, you said, hi, Chris, and everyone tonight. Thumbs up. Oh, yeah. Oops. I hate when it does this. Mr. Gosman, he said, keeping well, and I hope, Chris, I am. Phil C. Hey, Chris. Let me see where this thing jumped from. Okay, there we go. Let me see. What's going on there, Limey Watcher? Good to see you in there. Mr. Gossamer, thank you very much for your support. Can't get my lips to move today. A little towards a cup of tea. Love your work, Chris. Well, thank you very much, sir. Appreciate you. That's like a good cup of tea. I did, Dixie Man. You said you have a chance to check out the body I sent on Facebook. Looks like bones to me. It kind of really does. That's what's really interesting. And it's not the first time, like, yourself has seen that and there's other people have seen that, where it looks like vertebrae. It almost looks like a rib cage type thing, or some kind of, you can see the legs and different, like, tibia bones, all these kind of different bone parts and everything else. You're not the first one to see this. It's really interesting. Yeah, we're good here, Limey. What you said? Hope all okay. We are. Robert Zilstra, what's going on? He said, hey, Chris, how's life been treating you so far? Greets from Robert. Yeah, busy as heck. But yeah, we're actually got on a few minutes late here because I was like trying to get in here as soon as I could. Been real busy. That's why I only had the one video out this week, and it's on my Lunar Anomalies and Beyond. Hope you guys had a chance to check that out. Luciano Belvedere, yeah, I'm not sure what happened here. He says his message was retracted. Not sure what's up with that. Clerks 93, what's going on? Good to see you in there, man. Pat Morris, hi everyone. Everyone new here. Well, good to have you in there, Pat. Welcome aboard. Oh, okay. Eugene Rigby, you said, hi, Chris. I'm Eugene from Australia. And it's 7:10 a.m. on Saturday, 8th, on the 8th. Oh, awesome. Good to have you in there, man. Danielle Lee, you said, oh, Daniel, rather. What the hell? Let me make this thing just a hair bit better. Bigger. Oh, that's a little too big. Hate it when that happens. All right, let's put that back to where it was. I gotta find out where this thing is at now. I hate it when it does that. John Robertson, you said, I'm bursting to see what you got. Let me go back where we were. Okay. Yeah, Daniel Lee, you said, hi, Chris. Hope you're doing well. From the UK, Liverpool. What's going on? West says, hello. Daryl Harrod. Hello, everyone. Sorry I'm late. Don't worry about it, Daryl. You're good. You're good. Luciano Belvedere. He said, hello, Chris. What's happening? Noodle, SpaceX should claim Phobos. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? H-1AV. Good evening, everyone. John Murray says, hi, Chris. Love the show, boss. Well, thank you very much, John. Appreciate you. I'm not sure if that's a UFO legit. The moon is artificially made to sustain life on this planet. You know, I've heard that many times, and I've heard, you know, there's no way to prove that, but, you know, just with some of the facts that they have about the moon being, it's kind of like I got a lot of metal on it. It's got, you know, they found like different metals. It does have some water on it. They've also said it's kind of hollow because of the way it rang out like a bell. Yeah, it's not the first time I've heard stuff like that. Is a Pete, you said watch astronauts news conference. Learn spacesuits are 3 inches longer on ISS to allow the spinal stretch in space. Exactly. Yep. Heard them saying something about the spacesuits as well. I'm like, what is that all about? Read about some of that. And, yeah, it's kind of like yourself. If I'm not mistaken, if you get up in the morning, you're about an inch longer or taller, depending if you're vertical or horizontal. When you get up, you're actually an inch taller, but then you'll actually compress back to where your normal height. So with them without having barely any gravity, or no gravity at all, I should say, yeah, you tend to do that. Kind of just like body just kind of stretches out. Oh, let's see. Indrid Cole, he said, Chris, you okay? Something is hurting. Not that I know of. Barder M, hello everyone. Frank McLaws, he said, I'm back after missing a few weeks. Yeah, I noticed that, Frank. I noticed you haven't been there. But welcome back, man. Dennis Bailey said if Perseverance closely examines what they say is a river delta, they will make most likely find microbial life. Well, it's funny thing enough. If you look at Gale Crater, that's supposed to be an old lake bed or a good sized bed from a body of water as well, and yet they didn't find anything there either. At least that's what they're saying. Now, how true that is, I don't know, but I think they already know what's there, meaning not only microbial life, but intelligent life. That's why I think they're really there, right? Josh D, what's going on? Good to see you there, man. Hello, all. How are you all? I'm doing well. Can't speak for everybody, but I can speak for myself. Lucky Mo, what's going on? You said great de-obfuscation. Chris is the master at this. I don't know about the master, but we try to do the best we can there, right? Les Singleton, you said, from White House and feeling sticky. White House, I guess it is. Tennessee, I guess it is. And feeling sticky. Yeah, I mean, I guess if it's hotter, you feel stickier. But here it's gotten cooler, so it's not too bad. But still, 57% humidity. Well, I'm saying 87 degrees out there now. 93 heat index. It's still quite warm. That's for sure. 786 Auto, what's going on? Good to see you there, man. Says hello. Noodle, SpaceX provide a stainless steel grain silo. Will fly. Cool. Yeah, did you see that? Did you see that other video? And I'll show you guys because I got the space news up. Where they actually had that. It's supposed to just hop. It's just a hop. They just want to do a hop with it. And they showed inside the actual container of that thing. And you can see the engine. Of course, it is fired up, and it lifted this thing off the ground. And you can see what looks like a fire on the outside. I don't know if that's normal or not, but pretty interesting. I looked at that. I said, is that normal? God, I hope that's nominal on that thing. Because that's not good. Layla Riley, people in NASA walking on Mars in the world. People in NASA walking Mars and Farmy said Sarah did a fantastic job with the presentation of her finds. Absolutely. And she's done a lot more of it. She's had some Mars photos, which I didn't show because the topic was the moon, right? And after it, she watched it because I told her it was on there and I gave it a link. And she said, fantastic. She was like totally excited about it. So that's, so I'm glad she enjoyed the video. Dixie Man, you said, looks petrified. I think the war was over. Glad that's why everyone is so hush hush because it looks like there are gold veins everywhere on Mars. Yeah, they claim that, but they also say, what is it? They're calling it like brine, like from salt water, right? Highly salted water or high salt content of water, and they call it brines. If you notice that, you'll see it like in a lot of parts of the ground and through the stones, and that's like. I don't think that's brine. It could be. I'm not saying it can't be, because clearly it can, right? Because we have that here on Earth. But I don't know. There's a lot of things that it's not saying to the public. I don't know if I agree or even believe them, right? Because you know how they've been so upfront with the truth lately. Yeah, buddy. Oh my God, this thing jumped. James, thank you very much for your support, man. You said, Chris, it's 20 degrees tonight in Ireland, and we are having an Irish heat wave. Ha. Great video again this week from you, man. Proof, Chris. Well, thank you, James, once again for your support, as always. 20 degrees, yeah, you're talking Fahrenheit, so yeah, it's pretty warm. That's pretty decently. Good temperature. On a heat wave. 103 in Bama. Somehow I'm not surprised, man. It gets pretty darn warm down there. Noodles, you said Sarah's lunar findings were interesting. Yeah, I mean, when I started to look at that thing, the more I looked at it, I said, wait a minute, something's wrong here, because I'm looking at that white piece next to it, and you can see what it looks like. Part of that has been, like, colored in a green. And you can see that piece, it looked like some kind of like the cylindrical tower type thing, and you can see the line going right through that green, man. That doesn't make any sense. You should not see that. Unless it's some kind of green mist that happened to be floating in front of that thing at the time. Good possibility. She believes that that they're mining the He3, or helium-3, and it could very well be, because a lot of stuff people have seen looks like mining equipment. You're like, what is that? So, absolutely, it could very well be. There's no way to prove this, of course, and vet it, but just judging by we've seen a lot of these things, it wouldn't surprise me. And I know it wouldn't surprise you guys either. Yeah, that's pretty warm, Josh D. said, I am fine. It's hot here, close to midnight, still high 90. Yeah, that's hot. Pete, you said Sarah's moon vid was excellent. Oh, yeah, like I said, you don't realize... And the reason why a lot of people don't realize is, like, like I said in the video, you could be any walks of life. Some people think, well, it's just these guys are just kind of chilling, not doing much of anything. Maybe they don't have any life or anything like that, and they just happen to be doing these. No, there's people of all. I know people that work for electric companies. I know people that work for the space program. I know people that work in. They could be garbage men. They could be any walks of life. This is the reason what I was trying to say. And being that she's very successful and everything else, and then you see, it surprised me. Because I'm looking at it, and I shouldn't be surprised, because a lot of, like I said in the video, there's a lot of ladies that are actually really getting in on this, and they're seeing some awesome stuff. So, like I said, kudos to every one of them. And everybody here that does that, because I don't care if you're enhancing them. You don't have to, right? It's all about saying, hey, look, I'm going to take a look for myself. And that's awesome. Give you the link, you tear it apart yourself and look at it, and okay, you guys might see something a little different. I've said that before, and I don't care. The whole point is you're looking at it and you're seeing it for yourself. Your eyes, I was going to say they can't play games, but clearly they can. But when you see it yourself and you either say, I concur with what Chris has found, or no, I see it a little differently, there's nothing wrong with that. Because there's really not a right answer, right? Right or wrong. And the reason why we could say that is because we can't vet it. So there really is no right and wrong exactly what these things are. But if you can say, okay, clearly that doesn't look natural, there you go, right? John Robinson, he said, I got myself a Wii camera, Chris. Wait till you see what I get. It's mind-boggling. Your work is excellent, sir. Have you had a job offer from NASA yet? Yeah, you must be really embarrassed, those clowns. That's cool enough. So what are you doing with the camera? What are you taking pictures of, John? Are you, just out of curiosity, you said, and thank you very much for the kind words there, right? Oops. Just moved it on screen by accident. Let's do it this way. Canaryville Kid. Hello, Chris. What's going on? Canaryville Kid. Good to see you in there. Wes says, I'm Australian. Awesome. Let me jump all the way down here. If you guys, I don't want to miss anybody, so if you drop a comment or a question, please do so. I just want to get to the bottom here. Miss Heard, good to see you in there. How you doing? Say hello, Chris, and all my peeps here at Mars Anomalies. What is going on? Let me jump all the way down the bottom. Well, he's pretty darn close. Tony Gibbs says, hey, everyone, microbes should be prevalent throughout, at least to the local cosmos as the chemistry, as basic and very common. We even have two different, and of course it just stopped there, but let me see if that goes up here. MG Toes in there, he says, thumbs up, everyone. 102 watching, only 42 thumbs up. Guys, we're slipping here. Elaine Walls is in there. Says, hey, gang. What's going on? Keen Mechanics in there. I haven't seen you before. I guess you're new here. If you are, welcome aboard. Good to have you in there. Elaine, I like the way you said Mimi Reacts is in there. You said, hey, Miss Swamp Gas at Mimi Reacts. Oh, man. It's all we're seeing is this swamp gas. We got to do something about that. James Harden, you say, look like a flying can of WD-40. Yeah, you're right about that. Kind of weird looking, right? Alien Tenno's in there. What's going on, Alien? Good to see you in there. Let me see. No, Mimi, I'm not. He said, oh my God, Chris is not wearing a hat today. Oh my God, I forgot it. No, I just said, the hell with it. No big deal. And guess what? Some people are like, oh, he's bald. No, I'm not. It's kind of gray and it's like a short. But yeah, ton of hair. In fact, my mom and my dad still have a ton of hair and they're like 75, 77. So, yeah. Got that salt and pepper look, you know? Mackie Bolin says, hello from Baltic Sea. What's going on, Mackie? Keen Mechanic, he said, have you heard of the story published in the New York Sun in 1835 about people living on the moon? There was, I'm trying to remember if it was that same book. In fact, Sarah was talking about There's Somebody Else on the Moon is the name of the book. And I don't know if they gathered information. It's almost positive they gathered information from that point as well. But I haven't read the story myself, but I'd be interested to see it. Tony Gibbs, you said, how could we imagine recognizing any if this stuff on Mars? I think we are involved on the moon, the satellite dishes, etc. Oh, yeah. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that we're there. And I think we went further than, like I said, with the other Apollo missions, right? I think they just kept going with it. Because the way I look at it, like I said, why stop? If you've pretty much perfected it, now you can still have accidents, right? I mean, look at SpaceX. Launch a rocket, somehow it'll explode on the pad. Just something goes wrong. I mean, these things are like a giant firecracker that could go off. I mean, so it's a lot of technology in those things, and of course they can fail. I mean, hell, I've seen people get brand new cars off the lot and something be totally wrong with it. I seen one guy had no windshield wipers on a car right from the factory. So, or something major happens to the engine or the transmission. It's like either they assembled it on a Monday or a Friday, and something went awry. Something did not work right. So these things happen, and it's going to happen periodically because that's what progress does. You'll have failures, right? Tony Gibbs says people are more likely living in the moon as opposed to on it. I think it's a combination between both, but I think some of the stuff is on the outside, and we've seen anywhere from structures to craft that looked like they've been left there for millennia. It wouldn't surprise me if it's both. I mean, if it's inside, think about it. All you need is a small hole to get into the moon, and this thing could open up entirely inside and could be like basically a whole inner planet. When I say inner planet, meaning there's a civilization living in there as opposed to outside. So maybe these things came down, these other craft that we've seen, somehow they landed and they just didn't need them anymore, left them there. Maybe they were cargo ships and they were bringing supplies. Who knows, right? But either way, interesting, to say the least, because everybody believes, there's something living in that moon and on it still. And if it's on the other side of the moon, we can't see it, so we don't know. And they can just come and go from there, right? TC, you said, Chris, you have a lot more female fans than you realize. Some of us love space, cosmology, anomalies, etc. We are not that rare. Love your channel. And I love that. I love that, TC. And I say that all the time. I said, listen, because before, back in the day, you'd hear like mostly guys talking about it. And when I say this is probably going back to, oh boy, at least 10 years ago, when I started watching stuff on here and started making videos and all this other stuff. Heck, I remember that, women starting out, they had their own channels even. I was like, this is awesome. This is great. Because before you talk to just locally, I could talk to a woman, maybe somebody at work, and they're not even enthused in the least bit. And then you talk to some girls and you're like, oh, this is awesome. It's like, it's great to have that. So yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. And I love it. There's a lot more of you. Mr. Gossman says, looking for and talking about suspicious objects and sites in a rational, calm manner can only help us towards establishing a system of analysis that will, undoubtedly, lead to open disclosure. Yeah, I'm hoping that stuff comes soon. Everybody keeps asking me every now and then. They're like, hey, man, do you think they're going to, when do you think disclosure is going to happen? See, it's hard to say because whether they're going to start, little increments showing, like on Mars. We found, like fossilized microbial life. Then it's real microbes. Then it's moss, so something that lives on Mars, that's like a grass or some kind of moss type thing. And then it'll go up, or maybe there'll be somebody that's disgruntled and just like, boom, blow the lid right off of it. It's hard to tell, right? I'd like to see that happen. And I'd love to see them actually show pictures. Can you imagine, and I've said this before, and I think you guys even asked, Chris, if somebody gave you a picture and it was the real deal, would you show it? Absolutely. Are you kidding me? Because then they say, just for proof, and I'd love to have this happen, here's the picture that was shown to the public, meaning heavily manipulated, obfuscated, and here's the real photo. And then what looks like mountains are actually structures, or vehicles of some sort that they have. That would be interesting, because then you can go, look at the side-by-side, look at the difference in the manipulation they've added, and look what's really in this photo. So, of course, you wouldn't care about the manipulation at that point. You'd be like, wow, there's the real deal right there, right? So, yeah. Bush Corey's in there. What's going on, Mr. Corey? Archetype Nep's in there. El Camino 439. Hello from Stockholm, Sweden. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. The Exile, waves from Italy. What's going on? I'll wave my hand right back to you over Italy. Aliens, I know. Just finished my garden and decking and canopy. Put all the flashing lights on. Looks like a porno pad. Hey, sure the neighbors would be happy. Oh. Zulu Vivon, you said, what are your thoughts on CIA RV program that identified 4 many alien underground bases hollowed inside mountains? I'm not sure I've seen that. Now, I know they were talking about, in fact, somebody just gave me this page again, about the one they did remote viewing. You guys remember that? Where the CIA conducted this. I think it was in 84 or 87. And they had this guy, they literally had him sat down, he's like hypnotized or whatever. And they were giving him coordinates, and he was talking about how there were still Martians there. They were sending out like a team to find life there because the planet was dying and that they needed to get off of it. And they were just, just patiently waiting for these guys to come back. And, it was a pretty interesting read. I don't think I still have that page up, but if I do, I'll give it to you guys, of course. But I'm not sure I heard about that. You said, what do you... Yeah, I'm not sure I heard about that one, Zulu. I'm not sure of that one at all. Farmer, you said there is life on the moon. I think you're right. Absolutely. I mean, they don't even have to have, modern day facilities on there, right? Think about it. Not if most of it's underground. Can you imagine if, I don't know if you guys have ever seen that picture. It looked like they had like a cutout of the moon, the whole moon, and it looked like the whole city, and almost looked like a gyrosphere or something like that inside there. But it had like in the very middle, it was like the core, but it was like a huge city within the moon. That would be pretty weird, kind of like a high-tech Trojan horse. Of course, we know what Trojan horses are used for, and we hope that's not the case, which I doubt. So yeah, really interesting. I mean, I love the idea that this may be real, and it could very well be. It would be interesting. Of course, I think it would scare the hell out of some of the people on the planet, but yeah. Said 99 watching now. I got 110 watching now, 63 thumbs up. Come on, guys, nail that thumbs up. Show some love. James Harden, you said when U.S. Air Force invest into the program, they take control of it. Their number one is weapons, defense, and war games. Absolutely. And then what I do like about it, and the only thing I like about it is, well, 2 things. If they're using the weapons to protect our country, that's one thing. If you're using it just to annihilate other countries, that's wrong. And if you have, well, I shouldn't say if you have, but what happens is it literally, the technology, some of the technology will get watered down to us, and we get new technologies ourselves. So I think that part's interesting, especially if they find new technology. I guess you call it new technology to us anyway, of something that was on the moon, something on Mars. That would be interesting. That would be pretty cool. Noodles, you said contracts to refurbish, decontaminate, and reseal and authorize the abandoned alien bases is now my serious business plan. Like I said, I think we can all agree when they went to the moon, it's a recon mission, and I think they're doing the same thing on Mars. What do you guys think about that? I think that's the case. No, they're actually, I think it's Sodell Delos. I think it's Sodell. Said no news from the Chinese on the moon. I think they're supposed to be going to the moon in 2021, right? Now, as far as the Chang'e 4, or Chang'e 4, depending how you want to pronounce it, or how it's pronounced, you don't really hear anything from them, do you? Same thing happened as the Chang'e 3. Same crap. Stellar Man says, hi from Ireland. What's going on, Stellar Man? Good to have you in there. Yeah, Miss Heard, thank you. I appreciate that. You said, John Brenner, I'm sorry. Give Chris a few minutes. It's him and 100 of us. Pretty much, 107 of you. Let me see. John, just go ahead and ask the question again, because I'm going to go all the way to the bottom here. That's why I'm saying I'm trying to hop over these, but I don't want to miss any comments or questions. I'm trying to catch everyone here, but you know how that works. There's so many, I'm like, well, how do you get to everybody? At least not at the same time, right? Yeah, I've only heard about that, Corey. I only heard that you said, I see the conspiracy theories have begun already over Beirut explosion. I seen that. It was a hell of an explosion, my God. But as far as any, I guess I haven't been on the internet long enough to hear all the conspiracies about it. But yeah, that was one hell of an explosion. Archetype net, yeah, exactly. You said, imagine the moon is like a Dyson sphere. Pretty much. And that's what they had it kind of looking like, too, right? Pretty cool. Badur M, yeah, you're right. The photos, you said the photos should be the quality like the one of Grand Canyon, one you had in one of your videos. Yeah, it should be. And I think they start out like that, guys, to be truthful. I think they start out like that. And, of course, they do all of they consider magic to it, but to us it's sloppy, looks like trash, and it's like we're just left to look through an explosion, like here we go, like Beirut, and just sift through the stuff to see if we can find that what's real and what's natural, right? So yeah, it should be like pristine photos for the technology. Hell, even back in 2012, it's not like they had crap cameras, for the well, even the when you go back to the Spirit and the Opportunity rovers, they should have, like, really good cameras. Heck, I mean, even though they were filmed back in the day, and look with the Hasselblads and stuff like that on the moon, they still took really pristine photos. Of course, a lot of those are doctored, but that's not the point. Even back in the 1960s, late 60s, early 70s, come on. Doesn't make any sense. You should have clear, crisp photos. And even if they're not quite HD, which we all know they can do that, let's say it's not full HD. Let's say it's 720, for crying out loud. Doesn't make any sense. Let me jump down here. Oh. I don't know if that was part of the question there, John Bremner, but you said that you were talking to Jaws D at the time. You said there have been many explosions in many countries in the past few days. They are destroying our civilization through COVID and destruction of the economy, I guess you're saying. We are in the middle of a reset. Yeah, I mean, there's just so much going on all at once. Now, I'm wondering whether that's to keep us, busy for what may be going out there. Because like I said, we got the Perseverance, and it's going to go there to Mars, and it's going to be there in February. Chinese rover doing the same darn thing, getting there in February. Now, if you remember correctly, they did that both to the Opportunity and Spirit rovers back in 2004. One was like a month behind. Think about this. Now, these guys, one might be like, well, one was the 13th, so the other one would probably be right behind it. Of course, it'll be in different areas. But nonetheless, it's just like, these guys are working in tandem because they got to make sure, flight plans, everything else, nothing's going to get in each other's way, so on and so forth. Of course, one is already ahead of the other, so they can't get in the way that way. But once they get to the planet, one's got to, orbit it. And then, of course, have the lander or whatever they got going down there, rover, lander, both, of course, descent down there. So, yeah, it's all timing, but it's funny how they're both going to be there in February. Pretty interesting. Zula Vivan, you said, if you had a chance to have a UFO encounter, i.e. you met the beings and went into the craft, what would you ask or do? I don't know. There'd be so many questions because, who are you? Where are you from? Of course, after, if they can answer you and they're not ready to probe you, then you're just having a conversation and you're just like, well, why are you here? Where are you from? Is it Andromeda? Is it in our own solar system? Is it, just really interesting questions because you don't know what would be the top question, right? I'd probably crap myself first, but then after that, I'd get over it, change my shorts, and then go talk to him. No, I'm kidding. But that'd be like super interesting. And if they don't look hostile, then you'd want to probably talk to them, at least try to, and see what happens with there. But yeah. Grant McGowan, thank you very much, sir, for your support. Always appreciated. He said, hi, Chris and everyone else. I'm here and late, which is no big deal, Grant. Always good to see you in there. Chris, have you seen the latest enhanced Sphinx image made by Joe White? Much improvement. Share your thoughts. Honestly, I think I've seen the video, meaning because I get notifications of his videos as well because I'm also sub to him. And I really haven't had a chance to get into it. I seen, like you can see on the screen, like I've got mine right now, and it showed the Sphinx. I haven't had a chance to watch it, to be honest with you, so I really can't give my thoughts. Like I said, I've been really busy this week, and it's been kind of a pain in the butt because I want to be able to spend more time on the videos. And I do have another moon one coming up, by the way, so you guys can check that out coming up. I got 2 more Mars coming up, so I'm going to try to get them out as soon as I can. Weekend, it'll be after weekend, of course. Got to be able to relax. Got to work tomorrow. And then Sunday, just chilling. But then after that, oh yeah. At it like gangbusters, man. Again, Grant, thank you for your support. But like I said, unfortunately, I can't give you my thoughts on it. Now, I've seen this original one, which was really interesting. Really good stuff. I just haven't seen the second one, so I'll definitely check it out. Mario Dom, you said, hi, Chris, and all hunters. What's going on there, Mario? Good to see you in there. Oh, yeah, photography. Yeah, buddy. He said, I'm sure the Chinese will be forthcoming with their high-res images. Oh, yeah. Just kind of like they were at the Chang 4, right? Complete crap. Yeah, I like that, Farmer. You said it's pretty much the same thing. Yeah, China will be the ones that disclose. You know what I'd love to see if they actually did that, though? Can you imagine one of the countries that are, like, really fighting with the United States, or vice versa? And one of them just slip up and say, these people are full of crap. Here's what's really going on, and then they show us all? That would be interesting. Not a disgruntled employee, but a disgruntled country, Adam, you said, first question is, how did you do it technically without destroying yourself? Huh? What? How did you do it technically without destroying yourself? I'm confused. I'm not sure what you're getting at. Just elaborate a little bit more, then we'll go from there. Tony Gibbs, why isn't there more noise about the city on the ocean floor, of Cuba? Looks Egyptian. And you know what? Just like the ones off, Unagami over in Japan. It looked, instead of having a peak, though, like a pyramid, it was more of a flat top. But that's like hell to get to, from what I heard. The ocean currents are insane. So you better be like a real good diver. But they're all over the place. And it just goes to show you that we didn't have the water that we have on this planet now. We didn't have it back then, because clearly this stuff wouldn't have been underwater, right? So they're fighting this all the time, whether it be in, the jungles, buried, or under the oceans. So it's probably people going, just another city, that's cute. And they're not, it's amazing how people are not more into this, because it's like you want to know where you really came from. Not, what the textbooks have told us, but more importantly, what's our real ancient history? That's what I want to hear. James Harden, you said Sunday, fun day. Absolutely. Oh, I'm glad you liked it, Elaine. You said the hangout with Jean was awesome. Yeah, I mean, he even said the same thing. He said he had wrote me after. I think it was the day after, because I think he basically went to bed because it was like 2 o'clock in the morning for him when we were done. And he only wanted to spend X amount, but I think it was like a couple hours he wanted to do. But he said, oh, no, if it goes past that, that's awesome. So we did, and then he wrote to me, I think, the next day. He said it was great. He said we can always do it again. So, yeah, I'd love to have him on again. So I enjoyed it. I think it was fun. Oh, I just answered yours, Renee Vaughn, at the same time. He said, how did you like it last week with Jean Ward? I really liked it. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people liked it, and I don't mind doing stuff like that. I think he's a great guy, down to earth. In fact, like I said, we got a lot in common. He likes a lot of radio gear and talking on radio, because I haven't done that in years because I live here now. And I've got a lot more stuff in my life right now that I'm doing. Between work and doing this, a little play, of course. Not a whole lot of time to do that. But, yeah, we were talking and just wrapping up a storm about that stuff before we even got on. But, yeah, he's a cool guy, Good guy to watch his videos and stuff like that and interact with. Yeah, exactly, Farmer. You said, yeah, right, Chris. LOL, China would do something like that to all while hiding it from their own people. And they have. I don't know if I think I said this more than once, but they had done that where I think it was the Chang'e 3, and I'm trying to remember if it was India as well. I'm almost positive it might have been India first, but anyway, when India went there, sent their mom spacecraft. What was funny about it is showed great photos. I think it was like 5 to 10, maybe 10 photos of Mars, right? And that was it. Everybody's like, even their own people are going on their chats and stuff. Where's more pictures? What's going on? Why the silence? You're at a need-to-know basis. So in other words, every space agency and organization around the world is doing the same exact thing NASA does to us. And like I said, love NASA. I just don't like the idea of they're not disclosing anything or not telling what their findings really are. And I know you guys agree with me. The frustration and everything, right? Phil Cox with daughters Jesse and Kelsey Brown. What's going on, Phil? Good to see you in here. He said, I think Joe is using Giga Macro. Yeah, he probably is. And he's got the other one, the just regular Giga Pans from... what is that? Oh, I must have hit this thing. And it went up. But yeah, he uses a lot of the Giga macros. He likes those, and I like them too because it has more information. You can actually see it, and then of course Neville Thompson leaves the links so that you can actually grab those too. So I try to use those too because it gives you a better perspective about what is something we're looking at and how big it is. Well, when you say how big, meaning the layout of the land, you can get some kind of idea, but you don't know if this thing's zoomed in. You don't know if the rover's right there at it or if it's backed up and zoomed. You just don't know, right? But it gives you a perspective on the surrounding areas. That's why I like using gigapans and stuff like that, panoramas, stuff like that. Daniel Webster's in the house. What's going on, Daniel? Good to see you in there. I think I might have said hi to you earlier. I'm not sure. I think there's a couple Daniels in here. I don't know if I said hi to you there as well as Steve Pelt. Yeah, Justy, yeah, he did. John got tired, man. 2 o'clock in the morning, he's probably like, oh, I got to hit the crib. You know, so I don't blame him. Yeah, what was it? Pete, you were saying, or you're asking, if Perseverance is landing in a 3-mile deep crater, what uses the copter? Depth is according to NASA. Well, see, I didn't hear about the 3-mile, but regardless of that, if you think about it, it's kind of like Gale Crater, right? It's like everything settles to the bottom of that crater, so there could be oxygen there, water, all kinds of stuff that they're not showing us. And funny enough, I think Gale Crater is like a mile across. I could be wrong on that, but I think it's a mile across. Or no, it's more than that. I'm sorry. What the hell was it? Maybe you guys know off the top of your head. But either way, it's another crater down inside the crater, and you can see the walls of the crater wall, right? And I think they're all CGI'd, but regardless, when you see this, you just go, okay, so why into craters? Why not just regular ground? Because since when do you have water flows in a crater? In other words, on regular land, you would expect that, right? It's rolling down the mountains, coming down the mountains, and then you got that fan kind of action going on with the waters going into a giant lake bed or whatever. Why craters? Well, because to me, it has more of a water cycle. It has more of its own, like almost like an ecosystem, right? Because they're doing the same thing with this Jezero crater, right? So why? Why are they doing that? Why not just go anywhere else? I don't know. Anybody else might have the answer to that? John Brenmer, he said, Chris, thank you for mentioning my comment. I'm concerned that all my research on Mars is being deleted by Google Mars. Any comments? I don't know why they would. Google Mars shouldn't. I'm not sure. I've never seen that happen. Are you saying you're actually looking at this stuff and somehow these things are disappearing? I mean, because that's pretty interesting. Yeah, Miss Here, you're right about that. You said I liked his actual. It's like a kind of like a montage of what he had of. You were saying here at YouTube released an astounding video of anomalies on Mars a few days ago. Astounding. Yeah, I actually watched just about 3/4 of that at one point, and I had to leave the house. But yeah, I mean, really, really good stuff. Elaine Walls, thank you very much for your support. As always, you are awesome. Another great hangout with great people. Thanks, Chris, for all your hard work. Well, thank you for being here, right? Whoops, there goes a page. Nice. Sarah Michelle, there she is. Thank you very much. You're awesome, and I appreciate it. Your support, as always, and has always been. You said the ruins off Cuba and Japan, a result of pole shifts, just like my Antarctica, I'm sorry. Read the book, The Adam and Eve Story by Dr. Chan Thomas. It's all in there. My X-drones were identified by George Leonard. NASA and book Someone Else is on the Moon. Absolutely. And I'm going to get that book, by the way. She keeps suggesting that to me. Now, I've seen it on Amazon, and I think they got a hardcover book. I think it's like, what? That thing's like insane amount of money. And then, of course, I got the paperback. So I'm definitely going to grab that because she was saying that a lot of the finds that we were doing, both Sarah's finds as well as when I did the video, were actually talked about in that book. So, yeah, it'd be something to check out. Again, Sarah, thank you very much for your support. Always appreciated. You know that. And awesome eyes, by the way. Great finds. And that's not the first time I heard that, the pole shift. Because think about it, pole shifts, all the water will shift in the different parts and of the world, and therefore flooding out areas that weren't or did not have any water. They are now underwater. So yeah, but they also said there was a lot more ice back in the day. Which one is 100% correct is anyone's guess, or it's both, and it just added to more water, and the sea level also rose, right? So yeah, interesting. Renee Cruz, bang bang UFO gang. James Harden, yeah, you got that right. Nothing better than chatting it up with like-minded people. Absolutely. A lot of people have said, "Hey, man, I'm glad I'm here because I talked to my other friends and they think I'm out to lunch." Well, that's because they haven't opened their minds up. They're just still thinking in the everyday. Like I said before, you get up, eat, go to work, do your thing, punch out, come home, have dinner, watch TV, and then go to sleep and repeat the next day. A lot of them don't think outside the box. Mr. Gosman said more atmospheric pressure the lower down. Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. The more it goes down, everything settles to the bottom of them craters. Guess what? Like I said, I think they're finding life in these, and this is probably where there was a lot of structures around these lakes or large bodies. And if you look it up, Mars had a large body of water compared to Earth. Justy said, Chris, on other forums, people complained that they automatically unsubscribe to channels like this on YouTube. They did not know, and I didn't see the rest of it. But yeah, I mean, I've heard that from some of you guys too. They're saying, what's going on? I mean, I was subscribed to you, and I'm not getting any notifications. I look and I'm unsubscribed. What's going on? I know. I don't understand it either. So you may want to check it in case you're not getting the notifications. Yeah, make sure you're subscribed, because I've noticed that too. James Cragen, again, thank you very much for your support. He says, Chris, what we could clearly see in the Lunar vid, machinery and pipework and structures, etc. We have seen these in your vids previously as well, man. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, so the more people see these things, kind of like what Sarah did here, she saw these things, and like I said, she had been looking at these photos that I had showed you, well, her work, and then when I had done that video, that's what made her subscribe. That's what she told me. She's like, I think she's on a flight either coming to or from New York, and she's seen this, and she said, I seen this, and she said, I just immediately subbed. So, and then she just done her own work, and I think that's awesome. Oh, okay, John. I see what you're saying. He said, and Chris, impossible to donate from Cyprus. Yes, my stuff saved. Once very clear. When I go back, it's blurred out, and it can prove some of it with previous screenshots. Yeah, I mean, I've never had that done to me, but of course I don't actually go on the Google Mars or the Moon because it's Moon, and then of course I get that little drop down screen. So yeah, interesting. That does suck if you're actually trying to pull these out, and then all of a sudden you go back and it's completely distorted, right? Mimi Reaction said, Chris, we were told not to return to the moon, but what will happen if we return? To me, unless they have some kind of agreement, and they said, listen, because, we probably told them, hey, you're basically a satellite around our own planet. We should be able to mine this thing, whether it be helium-3, other metals, whatever it may be. Yeah, we're going to do that. So, and put a base on there, which I believe they already have. And again, that's just, a lot of people are thinking in theories that the people already have. So, yeah, we're going to do that whether you like it or not. I mean, or, again, maybe they have an agreement with them. As silly as that may sound, who knows, right? Because at one point they did. They were told to stay off. This was back in the Apollo missions. But now, many years later, who knows, right? Oops. Oh, okay. Sorry, you said Frankfurt to New York City. That's what I thought. I thought you were coming in. Your name was the first one to come into my Google search. Well, awesome. All right, John. Yeah, I'll do that. He said, when you get a chance, email me at only will accept your email. Okay, I can do that. I can provide you with the amazing proofs, the likes of which you have never seen. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Okay, we'll do that. Pete, you said scientists detected a new current of water heading south from North Pole into the Atlantic. Theory is melting glaciers are adding huge amounts of fresh water. And this has been happening for years, though, Pete. They have these ice sheets that are breaking off, literally breaking off the sides of states. And it's just, this is the reason why they claim that at some point the United States will be underwater. And it's not the whole United States, but as far as coastal, right? So this has been going on for years, but now it's being accelerated. Whether it be global warming, and I don't mean to the max, because at this point every planet is heating up. So it's not just us doing this. But we're accelerating with the carbon in the air because they're saying that in the polar sheets, they have like a black dust settling on these. All right, if that's the case, then it's going to attract more sunlight, more melting. So I'm sure there's more added to it, but regardless, the planet itself is heating up. But it's not the only planet. Adam, you said, watch the documentary of G5 technology. I didn't know this before, that the difference between the two are basically more antennas around the area, and I'm a little concerned about that. Well, I mean, if you look at them, the tower's always higher, right? And they use what they call a flat panel antenna. And they're just directional. So it's kind of like your satellite TV. You point at a satellite, and it's going to be, it's geosynchronous, locked into that orbiting satellite. So they don't have to be, at one time we used to have like this giant dish here. It's like of course there's a radio telescope basically, but the when you had the C-band satellites, it's because the satellites we had out there were weak. So we had to have a much larger satellite. Now we have these small pans, we call them, but they're smaller satellites for like, DirecTV, Dish Network, stuff like that. They're smaller because the satellites are more stronger. Don't need the larger ones. So there you go. So it's kind of the same thing. They're just directional, pointing at other cell sites here, and here to make that link. But as far as if they were omnidirectional, they'd be stronger signals, and they're not. Meaning just an antenna that shoots a signal everywhere, all the way around it, 360 degrees. Well, these are panel, so they're directional. They're made to be directional. Now, some have said that the FCC has busted them where they've exceeded the actual FCC limits. And so they're cracking down on them now about that stuff, and rightfully so, right? John, you said, Chris, I totally appreciate you interacting with me. You are not fake. You are not a fake, rather, who is just to cover things up, like some of these on Top Secret. Yeah, I mean, we're all people here, right? This is what we do. We interact here. Now, we share ideas. Like I said, I call it the round table. And basically, we just share ideas about it, right? And sometimes, you guys ask me questions. Hey, did you see this? And I won't say it. Or I bring you guys some news, and I haven't seen that. So that's what we do. We just interact, and it's a nice place where everybody has, again, like somebody said earlier, like-minded attitudes, and which is awesome, Oh, yeah, Tim Houston, yeah, you're right. He said, notice how NASA are only talking about microbial life, not artifacts or ruins. Nothing too sensational or threatening. Exactly. Keep it from the people. And like I said, other than people like us, how many people do you know will sit there and have you ever heard talk about, photos from the Curiosity rover or photos from the moon? You don't hear anybody talking about it. It's only the people that go, hey, I'm curious. I'm going to check this stuff out. There you go. Pete, he said Russia and China will team up on the moon base to avoid NASA. Military control, in my opinion. Could very well be. Once these guys all get to the moon, go to Mars, what do you think is going to happen? They're going to say, okay, that's my piece. That's my piece here. We're going to divvy it up. I don't think they should be divvying anything up. Take a look at the planet, work in unison, work together, make a civilization there, and that's pretty much it. Never mind this, you stay out of my area, you stay out of my area. Let's not make the same mistakes we're making here on Earth. Let's make it, make it a cooperation between all these countries over there, and then maybe we can learn something from there and do it here, right? John Robinson, you said, didn't the USA take over the Nazi base on the dark side? The dark side or the other side of the moon. Wasn't that the one they bombed? They bombed it a couple times, so it's hard to tell, right? James Harden, you said Russia was developing a nuclear warhead, ICBM, that would stay airborne indefinitely. It would basically hold the planet hostage. Not if other countries got something to say about it. They'd be like, yeah, you need to get that out of there. Paul Weisgerber, what's going on, man? I think you slipped under the wire there. I didn't see you. Robert Morgan. He said, Chris, I sent a tongue-in-cheek tweet to Elon as he needs for you as a consultant for the moon and Mars. There you go. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? Well, that could very well be too, Farmer. You said no such thing as global warming. It's called evolution of the planet. Well, you got to remember there's an 11-year cycle with our sun, right? And at the peak of this, it gets warmer. You get more solar activity, so it ramps up for 11 years. Once it hits the cycle, the sun's at its brightest, every planet heats up. It's not just Earth, every planet. But if we're accelerating this situation, it's kind of like I guess you can call it, we're just contaminating the planet, right? But it still warms up. We still get that. So I guess there's a fine line between that if you split it, right? Yep, Tony Gibbs, yep. In the 80s, we had 3-meter dishes, which is basically 10 feet, that you had to aim in different sats, transponders to get different channels. Yeah, you'd have a box, it would change it. You know, you got AMC 3, you've got all of these different satellites out there. Heck, I had one not too long ago. Well, let's go back. About 5 years ago. My landlord had one, and, you know, he had moved out of the house, and it became a business, but the dish was still there. So I put a new LNB on there. I put a new actuator on there. Readjusted the whole thing because if you look at the way those things are made, they're buried in the ground. They got a frame. And what happens is the dish is so large that it settles down. So what I had to do is, you know, they weld everything on there. All of these set nuts and everything else to put it back into the arc and all this other stuff. And so I had to grind those off, reset the dish, got it locked in. I had a cool sat at the time, getting free-to-air satellite. I put a different, not just a C-band, but a KU as well as a C-band combination LNB on there, and I was whacking like 23 satellites off that thing when they had free-to-air. And of course, you know what happened to that, right? All the TV channels went digital, and of course, they all said, oh, we're good, and that was the end of it. So that sucked. Alien Tenny said no one talks about aliens, Mars, etc. In general chit-chat. Too busy tweeting crap. Pretty much. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, it's like, you know, everything they watch on TV, they're like steered by that, whether it's fashion, whatever. And there's nothing wrong with that. But as far as like just everyday mundane crap, right? Now, I like stuff, and I'm sure you guys do too, and to do with space. You know, we want to see what's going to happen. Of course, we're all like anxious. Oh, 2021. Let's see what happens when, you know, the landers get there and the copter's working good and all that other good stuff. China's going to the moon, and I think they're going to the moon as well in 2021. I have to check out the date again, but like I said, I got it on the feed here, so we'll check that out shortly. Yeah, I think you're right there too, Tim. You said, I think they're still working off the Brookings script, which is what, 60 years ago? Well, back in 63, I think it was. They had done it, so there you go. Adam, I think it's 4 gig. I think it's 4 gigahertz, I think, even though you got the G5. But I think it works off 1 through 5. I could be totally wrong on this because I read this a while back. And they're running off a frequency band. I think it's somewhere around 4 gig. I could be wrong, but just double check that. You can Google that. Well, that sounds like a plan, Sarah. He said, you know, I have access to a 10-inch telescope up at UWO. Let me make a call, Chris, and perhaps we can do some sort of crossover with you and Dr. Cam E, rather. PhD astrophysics. I know him well. That'd be interesting. That'd be cool. Daniel, you said I would actually be completely shocked if these craters did not have some form of life that is too much evidence, including scientific. Well, I'm just shocked that they haven't found anything. I mean, like I said, we've got, what? Plumes of oxygen in the warmest months. We got methane or methane, plumes of this stuff. And it's always seasonal. Never in the winter, seasonal, when it's warm. What's doing this? And yet they claim, there's still no life there. Just nothing. I don't care if they said it was just trees. Would you guys be freaked out if they said, well, it's a kind of form of a moss kind of thing. It just grows. Okay, but then what's giving off the methane or the methane? Is it bugs eating it? Is it animals eating it and it's giving off the methane? Is it something else? What's going on with that? I don't think anybody would be freaked out to be like, oh, that's cool. That's awesome. So they did find life. Great. Maybe that rover, they'll make it look good. Well, we happened to turn the corner. First there was nothing there and barren, but then we come across this other side of this hill or mountain, and guess what? We found greenery. Yay! And that would be awesome. I don't think anybody would be freaked out by it. But then there'll be a whole lot of questions flying, right? John Bremner, he said, hi, Chris. I think what you are doing is so valuable because it will save human lives. Elon Musk will never get to Mars with people, so that means people will be killed on the way there. Life is there. Well, he wants to go there. He wants to actually die on Mars, Elon. So I guess he means once he's sent all of the astronauts, I meant. Because think about it, they're going to have to send something there that, they've done it in the past, right? Back when they were trying to just orbit our Earth, where they had monkeys there, they had rats, in these spacecraft. So they'll have to do something similar to that, something that's going to take its vital signs constantly, or it's just going to have cameras looking at this thing, or whatever. They're going to have to try that out for X amount of time and see how that works out. Because I don't see how they're just going to take people and shove them in there and say, have at it. Now, they will do major studies. Maybe they'll put people in a capsule for 7 months, because I think it's 7 months that it's taken the Perseverance to get there. Before, remember, it was 9 months, 2 months earlier now. So, I would think they'd have to do some kind of experiment like that. What do you guys think about that? What's your take on that one? Mark Matheny, I didn't even know he slid in there either. What's going on, Mark? Good to see you in there. ArchetypeNet suggested viewing for all here. Dark Mission, Ancient E.T. Moon Discoveries, 3-hour movie on the UFO TV on Demand YouTube channel if you've not seen it. I like actually UFO TV. They got a lot of good, I'm going to call them documentary stories, call them what you will. Really good stuff. I remember when they first came out, I was watching them like all the time. And then I kind of like all kinds of other things were going on, so I wasn't really watching it as much. Deep thought for the day. What is the moon? Well, I'm starting to think this thing's more and more artificial. I'll tell you why. When you can look at a pristine photo from the LROC, just have a good look. Now, we all know that they'll fudge stuff out. We know that. But what I find interesting, though, is it almost looks like, for lack of better words, it almost like some of these craters on the walls on the outside, they look like the paper mache, like they were constructed there. They were put there. And every one of these appears to almost be the same depth. Doesn't matter if it's a mile wide, 10 feet wide, 3 meters wide, of course. But we don't know. Everything you look at, you should see something that's a mile wide. You should see a rock or a mountain right in the middle of it. Now, they do have other theories. They believe some of these things were through ancient lava tubes. Now, lava tubes, of course, they'll bubble up, and then, of course, you don't see anything in the middle. It's nothing there to see. So that kind of makes sense. But a mile-wide crater, that's going to be lava? That's one hell of a volcano if that bubbled up from there or whatever it was. So my take on it is like, regardless of what it is, not one of these, it's almost like, picture a perfectly spherical ball type thing, and it's almost like they just put everything on the outside to make it look like they added the crater walls. So in other words, it's something that was added on this perfectly smooth rock, or ball rather, and we don't know if it's like we were talking about earlier, like a Dyson sphere, right? Pure speculation, but nonetheless, yeah. Who is on the moon exactly? Who is it? Well, see, that's the thing. I mean, it's like the more you explore the moon, it just doesn't make sense. Because you think of it in a more science way, the way science tells us about the moon, and it makes perfect sense. But then when you look at the photos, you go, somehow it doesn't make sense. I don't know. Farmer, exactly, Tony. Tree farts. But doesn't matter. There's still life there then, right? Whether these trees are farting or not. Yeah, Robert, I don't know if they'd be, quite that, or idiots and fools, but still, I mean, it would be interesting for anybody to be like, even if you're just like, you never heard of it. Oh, wow, they found like some kind of life on Mars. That's interesting. That, at the very least, it would be interesting, right? And of course, we'd all be like, yeah, This thing totally just jumped on me here. Z Quantum Leap, I didn't even see you slide in there either. What's going on? Let me jump all the way down to the bottom here. I'm sorry if I missed anybody's comments or anything. Just write it again, please. Michael Hart, you said, how's it going, Chris? See you haven't lost your mind either with all of that is going on over the weeks. Great videos. Oh, thank you. Yeah, we try not to. We try to stay here on the ground if we can, right? Yep. The moon is a UFO. Thanks, Jim Mars. Pete Ferrari said waiting 11 years to analyze samples picked up by rover seems very unreasonable in the whole scheme. I guess there's a scheme of things, I guess, what you were trying to write. Because it just stopped at scheme, or SCHE. Well, no, it won't be 11 years. I mean, for us to get the information back, of course, if that's what you're meaning. Because that's basically the sun cycle itself. But it's every 2 years we get closest to Mars. This is the reason why you won't see a launch every year. It's every 2 years. So this is the reason why it's a big bum rush to send, or China's going, and there's other countries that are going there, so on and so forth. It doesn't matter about the moon, right? But as far as Mars, got to wait every 2 years to be closest, less fuel, a lot easier to get there. I read about that a while back, Renee Vaughn. You said, what do you think about the first elevator in space, Chris? A Japanese project, a cable 96,000 kilometers long, and a space station around Earth. This would take a while, 2050, but very, very special. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's just crazy. And then it brings in question, if it's by cable, I want you to get this now. Supposedly, the planet is spinning how fast? And you're going to have that long of a cable. That's going to be interesting. It'd have to be bent somehow, and that's supposed to be an elevator going up to it. So I can't even imagine what that would be like. War crime. Now, your question was, do you believe in reptilians? Not really. I'm not saying they can't be. I'm just saying, I know David Icke brings up that a lot, the reptilians and everything else. I'm not so sure I'm a fan of that, but I'm not saying that they don't, because here's the thing. Nobody says that and these other beings are going to look just like us. Clearly they're going to be different. They're going to be like, whether they're, breathe different atmospheres. Maybe they're different rain. It's not just like we get here, H2O and stuff like that. Maybe it's different. How do we know, right? So... I hate it when that happens, get that tickle. But yeah, I mean, we don't know. We have no idea what these beings would be like. They could very well be just like that. Louis Longbeard, what's going on? Good to see you in there, man. Says, howdy. Hope you're doing well there, Louis. Jerry McDonald, I'm sorry. Hey, Chris. Hey, community. How is everyone? I'm doing good, Jerry. I hope you're doing fine as well. Warcrime, he said, Earth is just a big prison planet for humans. Somebody said something. Oh, my God. What did they say earlier? I heard something that was similar to that. Not prison planet. Oh, my God. There was a comment that was left earlier on one of my videos, and somebody had something similar to that. Oh, we were like a breeding planet and then taken off. That's why you hear all these abductions and stuff like that. And somebody had said that, and then, of course, they're taken off. Now, I would think a whole lot more people would be taken off the planet then, right? I'm not sure, Noodles. You said a new series about Mars Colony with Hilary Swank. What's the name? I've seen them. I think it was. I think I tried to find it on the Android box that I have, and it was that I tried to. I think I've seen the trailer to it, but I was not able to see the series. But I'm not sure what it's called, and I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember what it's called. I'm going to jump back down here, all the way down to the bottom here. Colin Barry, if NASA told us the truth, I will not be surprised. No one's going to freak out. Things have changed since Orson Welles' broadcast of Mars attacks. And I totally agree with you. But for some reason, they're sticking to the Brookings report, which is retarded. Back in the day, people probably would have flipped out. I think so, right? Absolutely. Russians gearing up to launch moon mission in 2021. Yeah, here we go. Russia's going, China's going. I mean, they're all just trying to figure. It's almost like back in the day, Apollo, when they did these things, and people were starting to second guess if the missions were real or what they found on the moon. And then they said, oh, wow, wait a minute. How do we know people not doing these photos or doing this work and ripping these photos apart that didn't trigger some of these guys to say, hey, maybe there is something more going on in that moon than meets the eye. Why don't we just send a probe up there? What do we got to lose? And we want to get our own eyes on this stuff. And all of a sudden, big mad rush. Boom. Moon. You've got Germany, China, United States. I mean, well, not Germany, I'm sorry, Russia. But I mean, all of these people are just trying to get there. It's like, it's a dust ball. What are we missing here? I mean, what's going on? It's almost like, yeah, there's a huge space race to get all of these new colonies and maybe some mining sites on the moon. So now there's a mad bum rush to get to both the moon and Mars. I just don't understand it. If there's nothing there to see, why are we doing this? Oops. Jerry McDonald, thank you very much for your support. I do appreciate you. Everyone seems to be in a rush to Mars, Chris? That's what I'm saying. It's like, what's the big deal? They're going to try to find microbial life or some kind of building block of life, which they already found this back in 75 and 76. What kind of smoke are they blowing up people's rear ends? And if they go, well, it's not completely conclusive, so we're going there. Okay, you haven't figured that out by now? I mean, we've got the spirit, opportunity, okay, curiosity. You're telling me they still haven't found, what's going to be different in Gale Crater as opposed to there? Maybe different minerals, I get that. But if it's the same kind of lakes or same kind of water, what would be the difference between the two? Anybody know? Maybe I'm totally ignorant to it. I don't know. But to me, if it's something, unless it's like kind of here where you got freshwater and salt water, it makes sense, right? Okay. But still, there shouldn't be a whole lot of difference. But yet they're going there like there's something to see, and yet they're telling people, we're just looking for some life. Maybe we're hopeful we'll find some kind of signs of life. I think it's just a way to program us to say, guess what? It's coming, guys. Get ready for it. We're hopeful. Mimi reacts. She said, so which planet will be next? Titan? Venus? Yeah, I mean, the moons, they want to go to Titan bad, right? Because they think it's almost like a mini Earth, although, because it's got oceans and stuff. Venus, they've already been to Venus. But as far as rovers, has anybody ever heard about a rover going there? Now, some of these planets obviously are too hot, way too hot, so they're not going to be able to go. When they send these probes and stuff like that, they don't last long on a real hot planet, of course. They last for so long and then they break down. Okay. But as far as they want to send helicopters to some of the moons. Some are even talking about like a kind of like a blimp kind of thing that will float in the heavier atmospheres of some of these moons and planets. It's just weird, man. They come into all kinds of stuff, and they're like constantly on the move, man. Like constantly, yes, ideas to build. For what reason? Now, I understand. It's almost like if you've seen one thing on the moon, okay, clearly Mars is just like us, so get something over there. And of course, we had orbiters. They seen all this stuff, guys, back in the day. I don't know. I'm still dumbfounded. Like, they're just trying to make the public, like, there's, seem like they're just spinning wheels. Not really doing anything. We're still trying to find signs of life, guys. We're still trying to find it. Bull. Tim Houston, yep. I believe so, too. We're going home. I'm going to jump all the way down to the bottom here. Metalhead, yep, you're right. It's Chris. It's money. It's all about the money, and always has been. Adam, Chris, the smoke is swamp gas up. Everyone's behind, pretty much. Blowing that smoke. Mark Matheny, he said, I'm still here listening. Oh, awesome. That's the one you're talking about, the airy green night glow of Mars pulses in ultraviolet light in the new NASA views. And what they're saying is it pulses because of the air currents, but yet it's kind of almost like what they claim was you can see it right here. See, it says new images of green pulsing ultraviolet flashes of Mars night glow, illuminating circulation patterns in the Martian atmosphere. Let's see. NASA's Mars atmosphere is a volatile evolution mission, or MAVEN for short, has been studying Mars since it launched to orbit and studied the red planet in 2013. Now, new images from MAVEN have revealed the weird and unexpected inner workings of the planet's atmosphere. And you can read about it, and it's showing... No, we don't need that on there. And you can see it right here. You'll see it actually pulse with that video, and we don't even have to play the sound to it. You can actually see it. You'll see it like pulsing. See, it's kind of going up and down. It's kind of like this glow. And they're saying the reason for that is because the upper atmosphere winds, so it's kind of like the northern lights we see. You'll see them dancing in the sky and everything else. Well, it's kind of similar to what they're saying here. Yeah, just wild stuff here. MAVEN's images offer our first global insights into atmospheric motions in Mars' middle atmosphere, in a critical region where air currents carry gases between the lowest and highest layers. So that's basically what they're saying. That's the reason for that. Let me see. Because it's using right here the ultraviolet spectrum. You can see that. And this is interesting. It says, these images reveal that Mars' atmosphere pulses exactly 3 times every night during spring and fall on the planet. The new observations also showed waves and spirals over the planet's winter polar regions. The MAVEN work also verified something the European Space Agency's ESA, Mars Express spacecraft, first found that night glow, or the planet's ultraviolet, nighttime glow is brightest over Mars' cold poles. So, yeah. And, of course, it shows right here the bright glow is created when winds carry gases down to denser regions of the atmosphere. This movement speeds up the reaction that creates the nitric oxide responsible for the glow, which is only visible in ultraviolet light. So, pretty interesting, right? David Clark, he said, "Hi, Chris. The race is on for something big on Mars. I mean, who the heck built the obelisk on Phobos?" And that's a big question. No idea. But, yeah. I mean, tied to that, when you had the Soviet Union, when they had their Phobos, I think it was the Phobos 2 orbiter that was going around Phobos. And, of course, they had that last photo. It looked like a cigar-shaped shadow on their moon, on the Mars moon. And their orbiter went blank. Totally never got a signal back from them. So, yeah, I mean, there could still be life on the planet. Or, guess what? It's like us. Let's say, 50 years goes by. Now we got they want to build these giant space stations with, thousands upon thousands of people can live on. Okay, let's say the planet becomes uninhabitable. There'll still be life on the space station. You'll be able to have a greenhouse. You'll be able to build structures. You'll be able to have a greenhouse because clearly you can have glass and grow stuff. It'd basically be a floating planet that's man-made. So how do we know that's not happened over there on Mars? And maybe because people speculated those moons are like little probes or something like their own satellites, so to speak. I don't think that's the case, but people have speculated that, right? You guys are talking about swamp gas, swamp grass. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you got that right, Mimi. Yeah, it feels nauseous for all the people going there. Like, what are these fleas coming over towards us? What's going on here? Exactly, Josh D. Yeah. He said, Chris, this is not small light. This covers 80% of the planet, like bioemissions. Exactly. I mean, it's kind of like, I don't know. I'm just waiting for him to finally come out with, there's some kind of indigenous plant that grows on Mars. And it's very similar to what we have here. That's the only way they'd be able to get away with, this answers the oxygen question, and this answers the methane question, so on and so forth. Because at some point, they're going to have to come out with it. I know they will. I'd be shocked if they didn't. What do you guys think is going to happen? Do you guys make the same prediction, or do you think they're going to do, they're not going to say anything, or do you think they're going to actually reveal it? What do you guys think? I'm going to jump way down here in the bottom. Colin Barry said, today I was watching the latest Mars rover mission update. NASA has admitted that they found evidence of liquid water seeping up to the surface with uncluttered photos. Oh, they've said that a long time ago, Colin. They've actually taken a radar image of the South Pole, and just off to the South Pole, the cap itself, there's water underground. And I mean like a lake. And there's a lot more water in Gale Crater. They've actually admitted that a long time ago. It's got its own water cycle. They literally say this has its own water cycle. So with that, methane, oxygen spikes, what's going on this planet? Or at least in that crater. And now they want to go to Jezero Crater, right? There you go. Oh, yeah, Farmer, you're absolutely right. You said, I think it's a camera filter. The sky's blue. Yeah, absolutely. That's been proven. In fact, they've done it themselves and pretty much probably kicked themselves in the crotch after they did that with the InSight lander. Yep, Noodles, Muddy Wheels a few years ago. Absolutely. There's more water on there than they're claiming. Of course there is. Mike Knapp, what's going on, man? Reveal in small drips. Yep. Absolutely. Metalhead, you're saying you're right. Absolutely, never the full truth. Like I said, how hard is it just come out with the darn truth? I mean, I don't think anybody's going to freak out and lose their minds if they said, oh, by the way, there's plants. Okay. I mean, all right. People are like, yeah, that's awesome. So that means we can. Think about it. Wouldn't they get more funding? Oh, we got plants there. Oh, so it'll be more habitable. We can go there and still be able to eat and stuff like that and grow food and stuff like that. So we know that for a fact now. Okay, cool. So it'd make it easier for them to get their funding. Oh, yeah, plants will grow there. We already know that. We found evidence of plants. We got pictures of them. Okay, cool. I mean, I just don't understand. Adam, he said, Chris, you seriously have to get the merch T-shirts. It's not swamp gas. I get it, definitely. You ought to do that, huh? Have like Mars and say it's not swamp gas. That'd be pretty interesting. Or put a couple of the, like a photo of something that's anomalous that we had found. That's pretty good, right? Just put it right there, smack dab, right on the T-shirt. That'd be pretty interesting. Mick Gust, didn't even know you were in there. He said, bye, guys. Hate to see you go. You said you had it already under your cursor, my dear Chris, in one of the car videos. Guess which? Not sure. Turklerin Vadisi? I'm sorry if I'm mutilating your last name. He said, hi, Chris. What's going on? Farmy said, if there's life, we know more about the universe. Let's get on with it. Absolutely. You get it. I mean, I just don't understand how they're just constantly jerking people away, right? Or jerking them around. Exactly, Daryl. You said Mars Gardening YouTube channel. They could make extra money for funding future missions. Well, they already know that, whatever they bring up there is going to grow awesomely. Because, like I said, they've taken the chemistry or the composition of the data they got back, right, from the Viking lander. And when it took the composition or analyzed the soil, they knew exactly what the soil was. So they put the same components here together and made the soil here. But they just all added a little volcanic ash, and they said stuff grows better than most places on Earth. So what gives? Come on. I guarantee there's plant life there. At least that, no less. And if there's flowers, there's insects. Well, it doesn't have to be, but you can almost guarantee it. If there's all like different kinds of flowers, you can almost bet there's some kind of type B type thing on there. Yeah, Colin, yep. You said you showed us a plant on the surface, so it was evidence of water a while ago. Yep. That's what it looked like to me, too. Brian Norton, what's going on? You said, hello, friends. First time here in a month. Been busy. Nothing wrong with that, Brian. Welcome back, man. Oh, well, Scott Duffy, you said start selling merch, please, Chris. Yeah, I already am. In fact, if you're on your phones, you can actually see it. When you go underneath the videos, you'll see like the merchandise under it. So you can actually tap on that. I don't know if you're looking at it through a phone, computer, tablet, whatever it may be, but you should see it on it. I see it on my phone. But yeah, we're definitely selling it. Tony Gibbs, you said that circular ship with the radial lines would make a good T-shirt. Yeah, true. Oh, okay. You said trains were also there. Okay, I got you. Yeah. Daniel Webster said, I'm not a scientist, but the methane spikes have always interested me because some biologists have said publicly that methane spikes are an indicator of life only. Maybe I'm wrong. Well, they said that you can have it through volcanic as well. Now, I don't know all the processes to it, but I mean, they do say some of that could be a cause to it. Sometimes like an opening in the ground type thing, you can, if there's anything. But then what's causing the methane to begin with, and then it just comes out of the ground? I mean, you have to question these things. Could be, Mark. You might be right. He said, hey, Chris, that's where all the honeybees went. It could very well be. Well, John, great question. You said, Chris, what do you think about the parachutes that slowed down the Opportunity rover? With 100 times less atmospheric pressure, the parachutes would have to have 100 times the volume. Exactly. They were quite large. And keep in mind, these rovers were actually in like these airbags. They were in these balloons type thing, and once it released it, they just bounced until they stopped, and then of course they opened and they came out and came online and did its own checks and everything else. But yeah, these things were huge. These parachutes, yeah. Of course, I'm with you on that. I think the atmosphere is much thicker than they're saying. Metalhead, you said methane on Mars comes from biology. Totally agree with you. That's my take on it. Yeah. Daniel, you said I want to know before I die too, but I'm doubtful. I mean, I know, but I want to know for sure. I have told some people if I live to see it, I'll come back and tell you I told you so. Yeah, pretty much. Josh D said the green haze does remind me too of swimming in plankton here on Earth's oceans. Yeah. Yep. Oh, John, they did. At least that's what NASA's telling us, right? They were released from the parachute. These things bounced and then came to a stop. And yeah. Now the Sojourner didn't. I don't believe they did. Not they, but it had its own lander. It came off of it. But yeah, I mean, I found it interesting the way they did those, but yet, of course, the Curiosity is a whole lot bigger, right? It's like a size of a good size SUV, and it weighs a little over a ton, I think. Pretty wild machine. That one had to be by a crane, a rocket crane kind of thing, where supposedly, of course, according to NASA, these were basically, I call them airbags that surrounded both of the rovers, and they landed that way. Exactly, Colin. You said no, but these volcanoes are now dead, according to NASA. So why suddenly they have changed their tune over the methane? Well, they said that it could come from Earth. So they're saying that this could happen. And of course, we have that cloud again coming from one of these dormant volcanoes, and said it hasn't been active for 50 million years ago, some goofy number. So where's this plume coming from? This smoke coming from? Interesting. Mr. Gossamer, you said the seasonal appearance of the methane seems to conflict with geological model in which the methane would be more constant. True? Well, yeah, John, they were like I said, that was the, I'm sorry, not the Sojourner, but the Spirit and Opportunity rovers. Sojourner had its own lander. Turklerin, you said Elon Musk's idea was to buy a Russian rocket on the cheap and use it to send plants or mice to Mars. Russians didn't approve this. That's why he did SpaceX, so he knows there's oxygen there. Yeah, I mean, I think we all know that by now, right? But it is interesting. Like I said, you have to send these things to find out if these plants will live. And if you send plants there, and I think that's what they're doing with the rover. Remember we were talking about those little tubes that they're going to, supposedly the Perseverance rover is actually going to dig, take the soil, put it in these little tubes, and then just basically set them aside on the Martian surface to when, we actually go there ourselves and, we put boots on the ground. I don't think that's the case. I think there's seeds inside those, and they're going to actually drill, empty each of these things in there, have different plants, and see how they fare on the planet. That's my view, and that's what I think is really going on. Again, my question was, why take the thing, put it through the spectrum analyzer on the Perseverance? I was going to say Curiosity because they both have it. Put it through the spectrometer. Okay, we know what the compound is made. Okay, now take the soil and put it in a tube and drop it on the surface so we can take it back when we get boots on the ground. It makes no darn sense to me. Is anybody else here with me on thinking the same thing, or am I totally off base here? Farmy said, hey, Chris, did you see the video of the object flying in front of the moon on July 30th? Yeah, who had that on there? Somebody had that on there, didn't they? I just seen that not too long ago. Like you said, I think it was on the 30th. I'm trying to think who had that. Now, I don't know what that was, but interesting. Well, Turklerin, you said your question was, why invest millions of dollars to go to Mars with dead mouse? Well, they're probably trying to see if they'll live through the flight, meaning all the way to there. Now, they'll probably give them you're talking 7 months. So these things would have to have something to feed them, water, the whole 9 yards, and see how they fare in space until they get to Mars, and then if they can actually get on Mars. So that would be interesting. I think it's more the flight more than anything, right? Think about it. Oh, thank you again, Sarah. I do appreciate you. Sarah Michelle, we already know that. I stand corrected. I actually messed that up, and it was funny. And she was on here, and she's used that name before, and yet on the video I did, I called her Michaels, so it was a big my bad on that one. So I apologize to her for that. That was a lot of fun. You said, thanks, Christopher. You have a fabulous group of really intuitive and brilliant followers who are curious and I think well on their feet. The best kind of investigator poses all of the qualities. Well, I thank you very much, and I'm sure everybody else does here, Sarah. And again, thank you for your support, as you always have. Elaine Millard, you said, how do they, or we, know they're not taking tardigrades up, accidentally or on purpose? Well, that's the funny thing. Didn't wasn't it China that did that not too long ago? They took those up. They said that now there's little creatures that are very robust can actually live on the moon, or they're on the moon. They crashed this thing onto the moon, and they're saying chances are those things are actually living on the moon because they're microscopic, but still, I think they're the ones that did it, right? Anybody else remember that? Accidentally on purpose, you said. Those critters can live in conditions that kill nearly everything else. Maybe they taken methane worms? Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm almost positive China did it, but I could be wrong. James, you asked, Chris, what is the supposed life expectancy of the new rover that NASA has or sending up? Perseverance is the one I am on about. What do you think yourself? Most of the time they give these things like a 90-day, which is incredibly silly. But I'm trying to remember exactly how long they gave the Curiosity. But here's the thing. You see the Curiosity went on the 2012, landed there, and we're talking, 8 years now. So it's going to be pretty good. Even the wheels are coming apart, but they're still able to, still able to drive and everything else the way that thing's made. The wheels are a little bit thinner or not as wide than the other Rover, and I don't think they need to be. But they did that to be kind of like so it'd stay above the soil, and of course, being six-wheel drive, that this thing would have no problem going through the soil. Not like its counterparts or the smaller counterparts, the Spirit and Opportunity, where they claimed the wheels were only so big. And, of course, one of them got bogged down in the sand and couldn't get out, which I find that hard to believe because it's 6 wheels. And, they've gotten stuck in it before where you can actually see them where they had that live, well, I shouldn't say live. It was like a bunch of stills I had taken and put into a movie. Remember I had done and I broke that thing apart, and you could see what looks like structures and all kinds of intelligently made objects all over the place. Well, you could see it bogged down in a couple areas where it went into sand, it was literally over the wheels, and it still made it through. But when I checked out, I don't know if it was a Spirited Opportunity. It was a Spirit. That thing actually got hung up on something. Something went through the wheel and it hung it up. That's why it couldn't get out. And I seen that through that photo and enhanced it to show everybody. That too, Pete. Yeah, you're right. Water bears would be perfect for the trip. Well, that's what they're saying, John. What you're saying is basically repeating what NASA's been telling us, right? But what if the atmosphere is much thicker towards closer to the ground? Well, then, yeah, I mean, like you said, it would only slow down by 2% coming down. But what if it runs into a much thicker atmosphere on its way down towards the ground, and they're not telling the truth about what the atmosphere is really like. So when you think about in the regards what they're talking about as science papers, then you're right. I totally agree. But if they're not telling the truth, then what? It's a question you should think about. MJ420, what's going on? He said, rockets are a joke. They look at this loud, smoky distraction over here while the real shit going on behind you. I guess my thinking is, and I think we already know this, is that they got a lot better propulsion, instead of these Saturn V's and these other different rockets. Now they are coming out with much more powerful rockets, and people have stated, like, man, the rockets we're seeing now are so much more powerful. Like the one they're making for the spaceship for Elon. Let me see here. Let me see. We got this one here. A super speedy acid cloud has been hiding on Venus for decades. SpaceX launches 57 more Starlink satellites. Lands rocket at sea. Glaciers on Pluto might grow with the seasons. And it's like, how does that happen? Way the heck out there. It's like seasons? And it's got seasons on there? There you go. On a way to Mars, Chinese spacecraft spots Earth and Moon ACES steering maneuver. So, again, that's going to be there in February, like I said. And I'm talking about live updates. You can go to that and actually click on that. And I think they even have a web page and all that, Facebook page and stuff. China launches 2 satellites from desert launch site. You can see this right here. Demo 2. Success keeps SpaceX on track for tourist flights in late 2021. Pretty interesting. Thousands of Earth-like planets, I don't know what that might circle the Milky Way's central black hole. Tens of thousands of planets like Earth and Neptune might orbit the giant black hole at the center of the Milky Way. Let's see why not, right? Thank you, John Beck, for your support. Always appreciated, man. You said another great chat. Well, much appreciated. Well, it's a great chat because it's got great people in here. I mean, what else, you know? Like I said, I've been to a lot of these chats. Man, you know, they need 1,000, you know, moderators for their channel. You know, I don't. And I get people that come to the channel. They mess with the channel. I don't care. You know, you guys always alert me and then we just get rid of them. What's the big deal? Never usually have to worry about that stuff. A lot of great people here. And I can go into other places and there's people giving all kinds of crap to other channels and stuff. And it's like, it's all in the company you hold, right? Or you're with. Andy Hughes, thanks for stopping by. You said, I'm out, folks. Much too late. Well, thank you for being here anyway. I appreciate you. Tony Gibbs, you said, we have to get off the liquid chemical propulsion to get anywhere. And you know they have. Because they've been messing around with ion drives, plasma drives, mostly ion. You could bet they have something that's so much... You know, they're saying that, you know, they can get to Mars in 20 minutes. How true that is... To me, it's speculation, but that doesn't mean it's not right, and it doesn't mean it's not true. And it would not surprise me. Anti-gravitics. We got all kinds of crazy things that they're coming out with, and you could bet by now they've got stuff that would like totally blow our minds. Well, thanks, Metalhead. You said this channel rocks all of YouTube. I appreciate that. Daniel, you said one of NASA's workers have said, I haven't seen anything that make me think that Mars has life, and I think he's going around with blinders on. Yeah, again, it's just a narrative. You know what I mean? They're just blowing smoke, or they're just being totally dishonest. You know, and I'm going by what we see in these photos, right? Between, and like if they say the same thing about the moon, there's nothing but on it. It's just dust and rock, and that's all there is. But yet, the photos tell a different story. They also tell signs of manipulation, obfuscation. So, it's, you know, it's like, you can say one thing, but it's almost like he's talking on the other side of his face, but you know darn well that they're lying to us. You know, they're just, oh yeah, we haven't seen anything. No, we can't. There's no life on the planet or whatever. Like I said, you know, the pictures tell 1,000 words. John Bremner, you said, I agree that they are not telling the truth about the atmosphere because to lift dust off the surface and cause a worldwide dust storm, especially given Mars a lower gravity, would take like 1,000-mile-an-hour winds. Well, they claim that if it's I'm trying to remember what they said. If they were to tell you, like it's 60-mile-an-hour winds, it's really a lot lower than that because of the atmosphere density. Now, again, I guess in the upper atmosphere we would agree with that. But if it's more closer to the ground, they have dust devils and everything else. You got cold fronts and hot fronts that actually create this turbulence, wind shear, things like that. You get that, and it creates that. So, and if they have the temperatures that they claim, it's well below zero, and then it can go up to 70 to 100 in the shade during the summer months. If that's true, at least the 70-degree mark, okay, then a huge pendulum swing of temperatures, well, clearly it's going to have dust storms. Now, again, they said, like, if it's 100 miles an hour, it's really like, 30 to 40 mile an hour. It'd feel like if you were in it. So I'm going, then how do you register 100 mile an hour wind if it's not true? But I don't know if it's, I don't know how they do that, because I'm thinking, okay, wind is wind, it's hitting me. Now, I guess if you're on a mountain and it's windy, is it different from being, like something that's well up there in altitude or way up there above sea level? Is it a lot different wind up there than there is down at the bottom? If it's let's say 60 mile an hour up there and 60 mile an hour on the ground, what's the difference? Is there a difference between density of the air? Adam says, got to run, guys. Start weekend off. Elaine, others, be safe. Have a great weekend all. Thank you, Adam. Appreciate that. You do the same thing. Have yourself a good weekend as well, right? Be safe. Steve Wagner said, hi, Chris. When Perseverance went up, it was so quick I missed it. When I went out to look outside with my coworker, he said that there it is, and as I looked, I only observed a smoke trail. Yeah, these things are quite fast. At first, it's like they're trying to lift up, and then all of a sudden, you can see they always put it in the corner, like miles per hour, or so on, in elevation and climb and all that other good stuff. So pretty interesting. John, you said, so good night completely. The photos tell a different story. It's all going to come out soon. Yeah, at some point, something's got to give. Like I said, I don't care if it's a warring country with another country. They're full of crap. This is what's really going on. But then, of course, they'd kind of out themselves, too, wouldn't they? Now, they said it was much higher than that, John. Even then, of course, they might have said like 300 mile an hour. I forget what it was. But either way, it was much higher than that from what I read. But regardless, if they claim it's a 100 mile an hour wind on Mars, then why not just claim it's only 1 mile an hour? You know what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? So is it the density of the atmosphere or the air that they're saying this is the reason why it doesn't feel you don't feel the wind as much? What's your take on that? We just had one of those earlier, a few months back, didn't we Pete? You said Sahara sandstorm just crossed the Atlantic Ocean into South America. I'm almost positive we already had that like a couple months ago. At least we had one of them sandstorms. In fact, it was weird. I was out walking one night or one evening, and I looked. You can actually see like this weird like tan or reddish tinge to the like the clouds in the sky itself. It was really weird. James Cragen, you said, Chris, do you think it's strange that something that is a huge abundance of evidence going back thousands of years about past or present life on the other planets and still have to try and prove it, rather? Yeah, I do. I do find it really weird. Again, they keep saying this like, oh, yeah, we're looking for life exo-solar system, like outside us. I was like, what for? I don't understand the logic. And because it's almost like they're trying to get your mind off there. Yeah, there's nothing here in our solar system to see. So we're just going to try to find it out there. Chance out of life's way out there, millions of light years away. When, again, they get everybody's mind to just think, oh, yeah, nothing here in our solar system, completely dead. But yet we're here. So I don't know. Ouija Seagull, you said I saw hundreds of dust devils in Mexican deserts with no discernible wind, just the heat from the sun. Yeah, so you got these turbulent air currents kicking this stuff up. Now, we had a couple dust devils when I lived at home in Rhode Island where these things were nasty little things. I mean, we had We were at a flea market one time. This is funny because there was an 18-wheeler there. Remember way back in the day? This is like, man, I think this goes back in the 80s. It had those velvet, like, photos, these large pictures you could put on the wall, and had like the, like different things in it, like tigers and all that kind. It was like a velvet painting. And it literally, this little dust devil came on just throwing people's stuff in the air. I mean, boom, and it hit that 18-wheeler, and you can see the whole thing rocking. So, but that's on Earth. What would it be like on Mars? Are they saying because the atmosphere is a little bit thinner, or the air is not as dense? You know what I'm saying? So why call it 100-mile-an-hour wind if it's not? So it's kind of weird. Well, Turklerin, you said to have oxygen, you don't need any plants. And so, look at the Sahara, all sand and still oxygen. Yeah, well, you got to keep in mind, you know, just because there's no trees there doesn't mean the oxygen from the rest of the planet doesn't stop at at the borders of the Sahara Desert or these deserts, right? So it's just a planet-wide thing. So to me, yeah, you have to have, if you were to take every plant off this planet, we'd be in a world of hurt because it absorbs carbon and lets out oxygen. So I think if every plant was completely gone, that would be a problem on this planet. Metalhead, you do remember those, don't you? Oh, man. Mike Knapp, you said, good night, all. Have a good weekend. Keep your eye on the sky. All right, Mike, appreciate you being here, man. And have yourself a good weekend as well, and be safe. So how many of you guys did not see my moon video yet? Everybody check that out yet on the Lunar Anomalies and Beyond, where we had done Sarah's finds? Really interesting. I mean, I've got these right here. And again, this was her, basically, photos put together. Really interesting. I mean, when you stop and look at these things, some of these things do not look natural at all. And I find it really amazing. Like I said, when I did this video, showed these craters here, it's just like you look at it and you go, there's depth to that. I can see depth. Clearly, that doesn't look like a simple, just a lunar ground. It looks like it's been purposely built, intelligently made, right? James Cragen, thank you very much for your support, as usual. He said, Chris, Joe Rogan's podcast with George Knapp and the guy that filmed the documentary about Bob Lazar recently is worth a watch. Some interesting stuff. Did they just post that? How long ago did he post that? I watch a lot of Joe Rogan stuff, especially when it comes to that, stuff like that. With Bob and all them other people, stuff like that. Pete, truthfully, I haven't asked him. He's busy as well, but I'm gonna give him a shout out. See if he'd be interested in doing that. I know he's really busy. He's bouncing everywhere. He's constantly flying everywhere. But I don't know how he is doing now with, being a COVID and everything else. If it's a little bit more, because it is a little more restrictive, right? So yeah. Thomas, you said depth and light, or light rather, contrast, but yes, it's a good finding. Yeah, I found this one interesting here because, like I said, I took this photo apart, and it looks like some kind of weird cylindrical tower. If we, let me just make this a little bit bigger. That's a little too much, because then, right here, you can actually see the line of this going right here on that white tower, or at least the top of it is. It's very bright. I wonder if they made things like super, like a metallic, like aluminum kind of thing, where it would reflect the heat, being that it's on the surface of the moon, when they want to repel as much heat as they could, or, you know, if there's parts of the moon where they actually want to absorb the heat for the inside of the moon, if there is a civilization in there. What do you guys think about that? But like I said, when you look at the left of this thing, you can see the line going straight down through it. So the backside of this tower goes right through that green. And like I said, this here is cool. Let me see here. And again, we can see these pieces. They all look like pads. I've always called them pads and stuff like that. Here's another angle of what she was seeing. And you can see right here, because you're behind it, so it kind of gives you this weird look to it. You really don't see it. Until you get into the side view of it, then you start to see it a little bit better. And like I said, this one here, this is interesting. I didn't cover this last time because she said it looked like a hinge type thing. See this piece right here? Right there at the end of this yellow arrow, you can see a piece coming down. It looks like it has this round piece, and it has this, well, half a square, because it's like the top and right side of it. And she said it looked like kind of like a hinge type thing. But to me, that thing is just weird looking. Has these pieces coming up. It looks like a tower. And if you look carefully, there is actually little, what look like little structures around it. I thought of that too, Architect Net. I want to say Nep all the time instead of Net. The tower looks like a grain silo. Yeah, it actually does. Now, she was saying when I had, at the end of this video, she had looked at it and she said, you know, maybe that's where they're storing, if they are in fact doing like mining for helium-3, maybe that's a storage tank type thing, because it kind of looks like there's another one right on the side of it. Just slightly shorter, if you look at it, slightly shorter and smaller. But when I broke it down in the video, you can see what looks like pieces, like a pipe type thing coming out of the center of one of these, coming down to the left. But there are actually other structures there. Of course, I'm zoomed in real close, so that's going to be, it's going to make everything really distorted. MJ420, oh, absolutely, you're right. He said meteor showers are the best without no moon. With no moon, I'm sorry. Rockstar 8970 Able. Cheers, guys. What's going on there, Rockstar? Well, yeah, you can see that platform there, Farmer. You were saying that. You said, I'm thinking of the entire platform in the bottom. You see that right there, but underneath it appears to be something black. And it could be a shadow, like I said in the video. But over here, you can still see it out from under this, I call it the pad or disc, right underneath it. But look at this other piece right here. It appears to be standing up. Where in the other view, it just looks like giant, excuse me, giant boulders in the ground as opposed to something standing up. Here it is in black and white. And like I said, she called it X-Drone, where it has, she said there are interchanging not people, but pieces to it, where it has like, there's a white one here and like a darker one, has like a tripod kind of thing going on. And I explained all this in the video. And like I said, guys, to be truthful with you, like I said in the video I done, because I've done 2 videos, I looked at this one here, really studied it, and kind of bounced right over this one. I don't think I gave much of a look. I might have. I don't remember now. It's been, well, one was a year ago, and the other one was like 2 years ago. But, so it's cool to have people, like I said, like Sarah, getting into these things and checking these things out and really scrutinizing, because, again, I mean, I might miss something totally different, or not see it at all, and then she sees it, or you guys see it, which many of you guys have submitted things or said, Chris, what do you think of this? This is what I found. And it's just awesome. I want to jump way down the bottom here. Honestly, Brian, no, there's no way of knowing that. Any guesses on how big that stuff is in the crater? The only way you could do it is if you went on, somehow you could find the moon photos and they can tell you exactly what craters, as well as, what is the diameter from one side to the other. And even this here, I even showed this. This is cool because just above this blue box, you can see right here, there's like this straight piece on the actual crater wall, in the crater wall, and then just below that, they have this round piece. Somebody had said in the comment section, it looks like if you could picture a bell on its side, a giant bell, and you get the middle piece protruding out of the center, and right there, but it also echoes, it looks like it echoes the same thing in the back. Almost like a threading spool. If you were to take all the thread off it, it kind of has that look to it. So, really interesting looking pieces here. And if this is all natural, man, nature's amazing. MJ420 said craters are inhabited dwellings, and they park their craft outside like normal people park outside their house. Well, yeah, I mean, clearly they can't take it in there, but so they might just land on these pads. Architect Neck, you asked Bush Corey. 30 degrees Celsius at midnight? Where are you? I think he's just left of hell. I mean, because that's incredibly hot. That's hot. Dan, you said absolutely plants make the atmosphere breathable. Without plants, I don't believe life would be here. Oh, yeah, you definitely have to have it. There's no way around it. Farmer, you said, let me see. The vehicle I found on the moon looked like backward skidders. Yeah, okay. That's pretty interesting. Cool stuff. Jerry McDonald, he said, looks like a pic from the documentary I watched called Lunar. Yep, Metalhead, you're right. He said even Apollo dudes talked about people living in the craters. Remember they were saying that where they said, wow, it looks pretty desolate down there. I wonder if they ever get out. Now, why would the astronauts say that while looking down in craters? Because they said it looked like squares or structures or boxes of some sort, and they said there was like light emanating from some of these, and they were asking those questions just like, I wonder if they ever get out. What? Why would they say anything like that on the moon? That makes no darn sense at all. Renee, yes, he said, look, drop of stones. A flying disc with notch in it. Yep. And they got a bunch of them. Remember the guy showing us, there's a photo showing like a guy with a bunch of them in his hand. I thought it was interesting. Colin Barry said they have been talking about mining the moon. Seems like they have been doing this for a very long time. I think they have. Like I said, my theory is they never stopped after the Apollo missions. They kept going. Because again, what if you were privy to the information that there's, kind of like desolate spacecrafts, or derelict, I should say. I'll get it out, I promise. And they're there, and I've done videos on this where it looked like I said, it looked like these storage craft where they're just laying there on their side. There was one that looked like it was inside of the wall of a crater. Like, it wasn't a very steep crater. It was like the wall was very, had a good incline to it, or decline, depending on how you look at it. And this thing was just sitting on the wall. Now, I've seen many things on the moon, and you're going, okay. So, how long have these things been there? Has there been other, beings on there mining the moon? We don't know. We have no idea. We can only guess as to what's really going on. But chances are, I can almost guarantee we didn't stop. But if I was, the question was, if you knew that there was some kind of these spacecrafts or these dwellings or anything like that, would you stop going? No, you'd continue to go, but only on, it'd be like on the cuff. You'd be like, no, don't say nothing. We just tell everybody we stopped going to the moon. That's it. We're done. Okay, we'll continue to go. I mean, they could easily send the space shuttles there. Why not? I've talked about this before. Why couldn't they? They've got atmospherics in their suits. They can retrofit the cabin in there. They got plenty of payload. Instead of using it for payload, they can use it for fuel. But all you got to do is break away from Earth's atmosphere, shut off the engines, and you got your trajectory. And once you get there, slow yourself, land on the moon, and then take back off. It's a lot easier to take off on the moon than it is here on Earth. And, of course, you don't use any fuel until you get back to Earth. So why couldn't they do it? Absolutely could do it. They can use some of these, top secret aircraft that we had that were, invisible to radar. Tony, neighbor wants to investigate bear at the pool. Be here next week. Sweet. Turklerin, you said, why do we see moon as a mining thing if ancients or aliens have visited and stationed there temporarily? Because maybe they're maybe for the Noah thing and build only temp buildings to stay there. Anything's possible. They could have been on there just to keep an eye on. Maybe they're just stationed there just to keep an eye on us, beings here on the planet. Somebody said that one time. They said, how do we know we're not like a giant ant farm to these aliens? As silly as that sounds, why not? We don't know that. We have no clue. Good idea, Tony. Good to see you in there. Glad you stopped in. You said, good day, everyone. I am out. Be safe, man. Hockey-Tight-Net, you said, yeah, absolutely. 21 trillion in unaccountable transactions. Exactly what was the money spent on? Secret space program is one explanation. Oh, yeah, they've been robbing out of there anyway. It's funny because we had I think it was 8 trillion disappeared in 2004? Something like that. 2001 or 2004. And I found it interesting. It's nobody knows where it went. Oh, we can't account for it. Oh, really? And it just disappears just like that. We're not talking about $80 somebody stole from the till. We're talking about trillions, right? Marcus Peters, you said good morning, Chris. What's going on, Marcus? Good to see you in there. Renee, I live in West Virginia, man. I used to live in Rhode Island where you have all kinds of, New England chowder and stuff like that, clam cakes, all that good stuff. We used to eat the crap out of that. You don't have anything like that here. Yeah, they have seafood restaurant, Captain D's. That's just fake shit. That's all I can say, right? But you notice, though, no Subway. But yeah, we used to eat that a lot. Thank you, James. Once again, as usual, you said, I am with you, Chris. They didn't stop going. I don't believe they have. And, of course, it's pure speculation. I can't vet that. I don't know. But why would you stop? If they were up there for a reason, I would never stop going. Because you can bet if there's one thing they found in there, and many things they found in there, they're going to continue to go up there. If they say, okay, the LROC has found this time. Okay. They've mapped the moon I don't know how many times. So they know exactly what's there. Keep sending missions to go to these certain points where these structures, crafts, or whatever they may be, continue to go. Take them apart. Put like a base there and stay there, and you can just keep going back out to this thing and ripping it apart, analyzing it, whatever else, sending the information back to Earth. Why not just stay there? If they can use this, the space shuttles to build the ISS out in space, why not just load up the bays on these spacecraft and just go and build something on the moon? Well, why is it that complicated? People think it's like, oh, that could never be done. Why not? Mark Matheny said, hey, Chris, I live in Nicholas County. Oh, all right. A little bit of distance away from me, but yeah, that's not bad. It's pretty cool. What's going on, neighbor? Paul Weisgerber, you said, as much as I'd love to stick around, I'm out. I got a new snare to integrate into my kit. All right, Paul. Well, you have a good time with that, and thanks for stopping in, as always. Good to see you in there. And don't forget to hit the hi-hats for us, right? But have a good one there, right? West Virginia, yep. I haven't been there. He said best seafood at Patty Joe's Restaurant, Bluefield, West Virginia. Haven't been there. Elaine Walsh, he said, I don't think we've ever stopped going to the moon, but with all of the activity being noticed, NASA has to pretend we are just now going back. Yeah, that could be. Could very well be. Yep. Brian Norton, you said if they were still going to the moon, they could never tell us. Budget dollars from taxpayers would stop because deception would piss people off. Well, that's true too. Absolutely. I don't know if you guys have seen this Cosmic Disclosure, this right here. And this is Sergeant Clifford Stone. He's ex-military. It's on the Gaia program, but he was talking about inside alien craft, and I thought, what the hell is that? So I decided to look at it. And he's talking about this. It's a craft that it's a round disc. It appears to be about 30 feet in width. And what was interesting was that he says, it was really weird when you got inside it. It was so much bigger inside. So he's asking him questions, and he says, when you look around, it's much wider than 30 feet, and the ceiling was almost 100 feet in height. What? He said, yeah, this thing is insane. It's like, he said, did you feel any difference in your body when you walked through this? And the guy says, well, yeah, you could literally feel it, and it was from room to room. And he says, which is really weird. I can't explain that. And the guy says, well, the interviewer says, maybe different dimensions, interdimensional. But I can't see how they'd be interdimensional. Can't get it out. Interdimensional on one craft. In other words, from room to room, how would that be? But the guy seems like pretty sincere. I don't know if you guys have seen that. So, I'll leave a link to it. You guys can check. It says right there, Cosmic Disclosure, inside alien craft. You can just put it in a Google search and find that. And it's on Gaia. You can see it right there, Gaia. And they usually have a lot of great shows in there. And I found it interesting. I watched it. I watched the whole thing through, and I started going back through it again just so I can listen to it again. If you guys haven't seen that, check that out. Yep, Renee, you're right about that. Little roadie. Absolutely. Or the Ocean State. Absolutely. Yes, Noodles. Mr. Stone rocks. Yep. Yes, Net. Yep. He said like the TARDIS from Doctor Who, bigger on the inside. Yeah, you get inside, you're like, what the hell? This can't be the same thing. Can't be inside the same object, right? MC said this dude always comes across as a fraud to me, unlike all the other top level people who have come out rather. Note to self, do not inhale liquid. Not good. Oh, yeah, Brian, you're right. You said, could you imagine the chills you would get by stepping inside something that people don't say exists? Oh, and the guy says that. He says, how did you feel when you went in? He says, oh, I was scared. Didn't know what to make of it. You know, when he went inside, he says, you know, not like the movies, the way he claims, he says, you know, like in the movies and these sci-fi flicks, when you go in there, it kind of looks trash. It doesn't look very good. Of course, they may be talking about crafts that were like, you know, I don't know, that were laying on the surface of some planet. But the way he says it was absolutely like being in a extremely clean place. It was all like almost like a stainless steel. I don't think it was just stainless steel. I'm trying to remember how he put it, but anyway, he says it was like, you know, being in a clean room is basically what he said. Extremely clean. And then he was talking about how he went on to, he says, instead of having something to write with, it was like you can just wave your hand over something like that, and you can literally write on the actual surface. And they had like a piece of paper, they put it on there, and he can go like this, and he can literally write on it without touching the paper. And it's just weird. But cool either way, right? Metalhead, you said the guy has credentials. Yeah, he does. Oh, is that right? I didn't hear him say that. Because this is the first time I've heard him, to be truthful with you. You said 56 races in contact with humans, so says Stone. Anita M., you said, I'm thinking they don't want us there. I don't know if you're talking about beings on the moon or... The civilization on our moon may not allow the base of ours on the moon. I don't know, because, again, was there activity on the moon? And is there now? Maybe on the dark, I was going to say dark, but on the backside of the moon, perhaps. Maybe on the side they don't care. Or there's no life at all, unless it's just inside. They don't give a darn about the outside of the moon. They're just like, you know, just don't create any problems. I don't know. We can just speculate all day. We don't know. But to me, it just seems weird how, if they claim that we can't go back to the moon and now we're going to go back to the moon, it doesn't make any sense, because we're sending these, there's other countries sending little rovers to the moon, even now, and yet, you know, nothing's happening. At least we don't think so, right? But, yeah, interesting regardless. Okay, James. He said, Krista, Joe Rogan's podcast was with George Knapp. Is up about 3 weeks now. George Knapp has some newly released files that about the American government admitting black ops covering the UFOs. Well, I mean, it's like, yeah, I mean, they're coming out with it anyway, right? In fact, I think I still have that. I still have the page up here. Look at this. Pentagon has off-world vehicles not made on this Earth. So, and we mentioned this last time, I think on the last one there, but somebody else wanted this page, so I had it and I gave it to him. But yeah, I mean, it's starting to come out more and more now. Whether this is just a smokescreen, I don't know. But why not just come out with the truth, man? I mean, it's almost like they're saying it, but then they're kind of retracting it. So 2 steps forward, 1 step back, or vice versa. 1 step forward, 2 step back, where they're just trying to say, yeah, this is it. Let's just leave this here. You guys can digest that. But we're just, yeah, well, not really. You know what I mean? They like backstep and backpedal a little bit. And it's like, it's kind of like they're trying to get people's, you know, reaction to it to see if people would freak out. But if you notice, people are like, yeah, tell us more. Yeah, we think that's true. You know, we've always known that, this, that, and the other. And I think they should just divulge the damn truth, man. Just come out with it. Steve Wagner said it seems rather ironic that there have been many items that are hundreds of thousands, if not millions of years old, made from humans, or human-made, or civilization could have come and gone. Yeah. Well, again, they, you know, like the ancients, they claimed that we're like in the 5th cycle. Like the other 4 cycles were like, you know, either great floods, fires from something above, like a body coming out from outer space, different things that almost killed off the population entirely and have not, and that we're in the 5th cycle. So is it possible in the 1st cycle we were more technologically advanced than now? And this is the reason why they're finding like weird stuff in the ground, like 150, 350 feet in the ground, in all these civilizations around the world. Is it possible we were visited back in the day by these aliens? Who knows? We interacted with them. Is it possible that Earth and Mars was coexisting at one point before anything happened to Mars? And, and then just recently something happened to Mars, and now it's completely gone. And like some of you guys have said, oh, now we're back. We're going back to our home planet, so to speak. And absolutely could be. There's no way to, like I said, there's no way to tell, but, or get the whole truth. But, yeah. Mark B says, hi, guys. What's going on, Mark? Good to see you in here. What's going on, Equalizer? He said, hello, everyone. Yeah, you're right about that in a sense, Metalhead. You said we have to give NASA total immunity from prosecution. I mean, well, would you guys do that if they just divulge the truth? I would say, yeah, let the guys go. Okay, they were trying to, for whatever reason, they were trying to keep it from us. And I think we already know the reason for it. I wouldn't care as long as they told us the whole truth now. You know what I mean? DWK, you said, I think Stone is a fraud. I have never spoken about this, but I was in a craft and it was dark, scary and round. They lurk in the shadows and the whole episode was very odd. Well, that could very well be, right? But how do we know, like, different aliens would live different ways, right? I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities that it's more of a, like I said, medical facility that's spotless. I don't see why not. We have clean rooms in these examination places we do here in these high-tech facilities that are absolutely, it's like you're a carburetor and you're living in a giant air filter. Everything's super clean air. I've worked for a company before putting together machines, and you had to wear anti-static suit and all kinds of stuff to work on it. So really interesting. And you had to be in this room. It's like, I mean, the air was it's just weird to breathe it. It was just, I don't know how to explain it, but just weird stuff. And you had to have gloves on and everything else and mask and everything, all that good stuff. So pretty interesting. Randall Toast, what's going on? He said, evening, Chris. The technology has caught NASA with their pants down. Well, that's true. Thomas, you said, which species can stay behind a screen that also makes during hours and is only one generation evolution process? We are retrieving lost tech, not the first time. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm under the impression, like I said, we were much more technologically advanced way back in the day. And if we were not, I'm okay with that too. Because chances are aliens probably, integrated with us, or who knows, maybe you can call it abductions back in the day. And, we were probably taken to Mars and different planets, or we were technologically advanced and we could actually go back and forth and, to these planets. And it was a normal routine. Can you imagine that? I'm not saying that's truth, but, I mean, how do we know if that's not the truth, right? Pete, you said they wouldn't go to jail, but dead men don't lie. Oh, yeah. Who was the TTSA Archetype Net? He said, I think they are full of it. Mark, you said, you asked, do you think that we turned on the aliens in the past and a fight broke out and now is why they are watching us now? I don't know, because I would have thought, if they were technologically advanced, that they would have annihilated us. I mean, you don't have to use large weapons to do that, right? I mean, if, you see movies sometimes where, well, like War of the Worlds, the older movie or the one with Tom Cruise, doesn't matter, where you had these things died because of the air quality, the microbials and stuff like that in our air. They took it in and they started dying. We didn't have to do a thing to them, even though we were trying to kill them off and we couldn't. But they died from our atmosphere, basically, and breathing our air. So, I think they would have annihilated if they want to really kill us off. They didn't. All they had to do is just put something in the air and say, well, this should do them in. And that'd be the end of it. But I don't know. Custom Tailored One, what's going on, man? Good to see you in there. He said, hi, everyone. James, he said, Chris, what really bugs me is what is written in stone, and there's plenty of that all over the world, is supposed to be just a myth. But what is written on paper with ink is the truth. Understand me? Yeah. Well, I mean, which is really weird. You make a great point because, again, it's not like you're sitting around like nowadays, like, I think I'll just draw something on there because, I think I see something in the sky, so I'm going to go ahead and draw that. Back in the day, they had nothing to do, right? Nothing inspired them. They had no TV set. They had nothing. So they seen something. They had the urge to write about it. It had to have been something of paramount importance for them to either carve it into stone or write it down. What would be the point? It's like a daily event. Oh, wait a minute. We just seen this thing in the sky, this, fiery ball or whatever the hell it may have been. And they write or, carve something into it or a hieroglyph or whatever it may be. And they put it into their own words or their own way of basically, an event in their life. So it had to have been something pretty darn important for them to do that. To the Stars Academy. Why does that sound familiar? Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, when you hear him talk, he sounds like he wants to be genuine, but it's kind of like it's like a kind of a joke thing to him. It's like a pet to him or something like that. It doesn't seem like too realistic. Architect Net, you said it's highly likely that before the end of the last ice age, 13,000 years ago, and planetary catastrophe, there was an advanced interplanetary civilization. And I believe that's true. Even if there wasn't, they at least came here. And if they're a lot more advanced, like I said, we talked about this in probably pretty good amount of detail, where if the Big Bang is true, and current science says it is, then whatever civilizations were on the very beginning of this, this universe going outward, then anything that's on the very edge, like picture a giant album or 45, on the very edge, the center is the actual Big Bang. So whatever, when it come out and it created that, any civilization around the edge or at the very edge of the universe is going to be super, intelligent. So to us, we're like little cavemen, if that. Probably like little, microbes walking around on the planet. Oh, look how cute. They got little transportation things, and, they're starting to come out into space. Where they're just so highly advanced, they can't be bothered by us, and then as you come in to the newer civilizations towards us, then there'd be more to be like, where we are technologically advanced today. Your thoughts on that, guys? Mark, you said, I think they made us and tried to control us, and we rebelled against them, so they just decided to leave and watch to see what happens, maybe. That could be. Well, yeah, James, I believe that's the truth as well. You said, oh, Jesus, Chris, you said we'd be dead long ago if they wanted to kill us. I think it's the opposite. I still think they came and showed us how to be prosperous, in my opinion. Well, I believe, there's stories about that where they said that they came here, they taught us agriculture, writing, even some languages, and so on and so forth. So I believe that is the case. I don't think they would come here. If they wanted to annihilate us, they could do that. Simple as that. In one form or another, they could probably just kill us off with, some kind of germ warfare, right? Very easily. But that's not the case. We're still here. So I think, like you're saying, they taught us a lot of things, and then they're just kind of observing now. Just let them evolve, let them do their thing, leave them alone. That's basically what they're doing. And who knows, maybe they're hoping that we'll become advanced enough to join the universe, group, so to speak. Who knows? Exactly, Colin. Yeah, he said, I once worked in Lucas Aerospace in Luton, Bedfordshire, England, UK, in a clean room as a cleaner. It was very strange atmosphere, very artificial. Yeah, it was just weird. It had a weird, funky smell to it, right? Turklerin, you said Elon Musk said, I think you meant to say pyramids made by aliens. Most people serious said, no, blah, blah, why? You can also laugh or joke if you don't believe. What I want to say is most people psychologically not prepared. Well, because it's out of the norm. Think about that a minute. It's out of the norm. So most people go, yeah, that's silly. But have they really looked around and seen all the ancient civilizations that are around? We're still finding these things, guys. It's crazy how much we're still finding this stuff. It's everywhere. So the civilizations that are long forgotten, we're just seeing now. There's some civilizations we're finding we don't even know anything about them. So, yeah. There's so much out there to see, and it's just, it floors me every time I see a new civilization come out or new structures. You go, man, they're finding these things everywhere. It's like we built on top of all what they had, and we're just building on them. Crazy. Yeah, Randall, exactly. He said the Sumerian texts cover a lot of ground. Yeah, and they're talking about how they made it so they changed our DNA, and that all of these, the bigger like ranks, we're gonna call them. They're like, okay, we get the work out of them, we need them, just go ahead and kill them off, we can leave. And of course they fought about it and said, no, just leave them there where they're at. We'll just leave them there and then we'll just go. And supposedly that's a story in Sumerian text. Now, how true that is, I don't know. But like I said, it's like, why would they lie about these texts back in the day? It's not something like they're just like, oh, I'm just like the sci-fi writer. I think I'm just going to head and write this. When there's nothing to go on. You know what I mean? In other words, like right now, if you wanted to become a sci-fi writer, you could do that. Because why? It's so freaking easy. Independence Day, War of the Worlds. You can get all kinds of information off these, and plus anything else you can read online, and make yourself a great movie. Back then, what did they do? Where did they get this information from? Makes you wonder. Brian. Actually, why you to call me the Brain? Brain Norton. Oh, okay. You can do that. Randall, you said, Chris, we are seeing a lot of this ancient technology because of the internet and satellite technology exposing it to the general public. Yeah, this stuff's been around for how long? I mean, we're just now seeing it, which is interesting to me. I love that stuff. Science, anything technology or ancient civilizations, I watch it all day long. George Keymoney, you said, good evening, Mr. Chris. I don't think any extraterrestrials and civilization is a threat to our world. They know pretty well what we capable of with our own new technology. Yeah. Well, they're probably saying, don't stir the pot, man. We're just going to end up killing themselves off, thinking it's each other's countries that are trying to fight them or whatever. They'll think it's one of the other countries' crafts. Let's just leave them alone. They'll kill themselves off. Pretty much. Suzanne Ann, good to see you in there. It's been a while. I don't think you were in the last one, were you? You said, hey, Chris, happy to catch you live from Australia. Well, it's good that you're in there, Suzanne. Or Susan, rather. I want to say the whole thing, Suzanne. Get it, Suzanne? Susan. So, yep, Lucky Mo, Prime Directive. Jonathan Waddell agrees. Me too, Chris. Nathan Bond, what's going on? He said, hi, Chris. Shout out from Cardiff. What's going on? Randall, you said the aircraft won't fly itself. Have a great evening, all. Well, thanks, Randall. Thanks for being in here. We're going to be wrapping it up here ourselves, guys. Just going to jump off here. Been drinking this water, and I'm extremely starving right now. So, yeah, we're going to jump off this anyway. Great hangout, as always. You guys are awesome. Can't say it enough. We actually had Sarah stop in here. That was awesome. Great investigator as far as I'm concerned. Like all of you, a lot of you guys are in there just like coming up with all kinds of stuff. Hey, man, check this out. So it's awesome, man. Can't get enough of it. And like I said, I almost didn't make it on here. Like I said, busy week. It's been crazy. I do have some moon stuff coming out. I also have some Mars, so you guys can stay tuned for that. Probably be in the beginning of the week. Probably on Monday we'll have another moon one, so you guys can check that out as well. I've already actually done this particular photo, but what I didn't do is the very right of it. And when you see this stuff, you're going, oh, you'll actually see the ground is actually fake. And you'll be like, what? Give you something to scratch your head on. But anyway, guys, thanks for being here. Love the support. You guys are awesome. I don't care what kind of support it is. It's awesome. Makes a great channel. You guys are awesome. Without you guys, there would be no channel. So you guys deserve a pat on the back as well. Anybody who hasn't given a thumbs up, please do so. Go ahead and hit that like button. This way here, it helps, YouTube get it out. They'll actually, like on the right-hand side, you'll see it suggestive videos. Well, it actually helps. That's why I keep saying that to everyone. And just spread this, let's get this spread out and spread the truth, right? James just creeped in there real quick. He said, thank you very much again, James. I appreciate it. He said, Mayans, Aztecs, Egyptian, all native Indians, Aborigines, Hindu, and all of the others, we are all telling the truth. Yeah, absolutely, and I totally agree with you. To me, it's just like, these guys, they weren't sci-fi writers back in the day. They just spoke from what they actually seen, and they felt it imperative to either carve it in stone, write it down, whatever it might have been, right? Sanskrit, doesn't matter what it is. They all wrote it down, and again, they found it important to do so. So, were they making this stuff up or no? Well, you guys tell me. But, like I said, guys, just hit that like button for me, please. I'd greatly appreciate it. You guys are a great bunch. Love yous all. Everybody have themselves a great night. Try to be safe. I know you guys don't want to wear the mask. It's stupid as hell, but I wear it every day because I want to do my part to get rid of this thing. I don't know about you guys. Do we really want this thing to be the norm for the next 2 or 3 years? Do we really want that? Or do we want to just get over this and get back to some normalcy? I know I do. I can't stand it. I'm so over this crap right now. So do your part, and let's just try to get over this stuff. But anyway, guys, another great hangout. Again, you guys are awesome. Thanks for all your support. You guys are great. And just look out for the next video come Monday. And we should have at least, I'm going to try to get 3 of them out next week if we can, depending on how busy that week's going to be. So stay tuned. Anyway, guys, everybody have themselves a great weekend. Love you all. Have a good one. Be safe. We'll talk to you soon.